Hello, everyone. Before we get started on this week's episode, just a quick word that YouTube, in all its infinite wisdom, has decided that some of the Die Party games are now not suitable for advertising. It doesn't mean a whole lot for the content. I'm not going to censor the videos in any way, but if you'd like to lend your support so that Die Party can continue to grow, please check out the Patreon or subscribe on the Twitch channel. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Die Party Dead Man's Crest, a weekly, count 'em, weekly Savage Worlds Deluxe.
So fucking far.
In the sense that it happens during a week.
It's a little I don't know. It's a little arrogant to be calling weekly at this point. Probably go with before the fall.
Check my
Right,
dubs.
what?
2 in a row. But yeah, hey everyone, we're back. Welcome to another week of pirate shenanigans. We're gonna go around and introduce everyone. Cause fuck yeah. Welcome everyone with a bottle of oh my god, wreckage. Well, I guess this is this channel, so it makes sense that there would be something like that. Eugene, my man, hey Ben, how's your week been so far?
Honestly,
Yeah.
not terribly great, but we won't go into it. It'll bring people down. We'll focus on some positives. Positive. Going on a trip with my wife to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. Really looking forward to that.
Whoa, 10 years, man. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yep. She continues to put up with me. So that's fun.
That should be a fucking Hallmark card, by the way.
10-year. Congratulations on your 10-year anniversary. She's still putting up with you. Yeah. So then got to do my first stream in like 17 days.
Whoa, what did you play?
Slay the Spire.
Such a good game.
Yeah, I'm digging the shit out of it.
I maximized my content with 2 runs, though,
Oh yeah,
which is annoying. Like
that is unfortunate.
yeah, I sort of circumnavigate and found like the loophole on both characters with 1 run each, and I'm like, huh, that's weird.
The I mean, it's a roguelite, so the idea is different items will affect your play and make it different each time. And I like sort of the repeatability mechanic in it. What that game really needs is like any amount of animation on the characters.
Agreed.
Because all you do is like, I have all these cool attacks, and all of them are just my character jerks to the left a little bit, and then there's a hit notifier on the other character, and it's like, but I got this wicked awesome sword.
Yeah.
Like, do something.
Well, for now, I'm really enjoying it. But yes, it is as an early access game goes. I like the price point for it. And we'll see how much enjoyment I get out of it overall. I'm a little bit disheartened to hear that you only got 2 runs, but I'm liking it.
There needs to be a lot more content in there, sort of thing. So, but
Yeah.
that's what I read their latest update, and they said that the next patch is going to be fucking enormous. But right now they got to work on back end stuff so that they can change things. They might be adding in the animations that you so desperately desire their wreckage, which is really good. So they're using their newfound success because they're in the top sellers, which is fucking awesome. I love seeing shit like that.
I mean, it got picked up by some big names and kind of went viral pretty quickly.
Here's the thing. People who love roguelites, all they want to play is roguelite. Mm-hmm. You know, they want to play it, and the problem is there keeps being these massive dry spells where like all the streamers who like roguelikes, all the players who like roguelikes burn through the last like really good roguelike. Mm-hmm. And then there's just this void. And if literally anything passable shows up in that void, it'll be the next big roguelike.
Plus, it's also, honest to God, a drafting card game, which is like...
Yeah, and it's just a totally functional card game, as well as having roguelike things, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Well, Sloth, tell me more about what you're going to do.
I'm just gonna hang around.
You see, Dave, when it comes to entertaining people...
Prylaw, let's have a chat with you, man. What's going on?
I've been streaming consistently the last week. That's
Good for you.
different.
Yeah.
Good job.
Dragon
yeah,
Age
been-
Origins, huh?
Yep, been jumping back into the old Dragon Age. Haven't played in a while, and I don't remember a lot of it, which is nice. It's like I'm going through the game again.
You know what? I tried to play that recently.
Feels
as
like
well,
the first time.
and I gotta
Right.
say that game aged fucking awful.
Feels
yeah,
like
you
the
th-
very
I d-
first time.
Also-
I remember that game just being like fucking perfect. You know, like I remember that game just being like a great experience and no problems. But like,
But now you're a bitter old man.
well, I mean, like when you look at Baldur's Gate, you see that game for what it is, right? But when you see like it's kind of like when you play Mass Effect 1, and you're like, man, I remember this game being amazing.
I'm sorry,
but-
Mass Effect 1 is way... When I went back and played Mass Effect 1 when Andromeda was coming out,
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
like, shit, dude.
it was, dude, this is like, I took the difficulty and I turned it all the way down. It was like, I'm just playing this purely for story, because this game mechanics and all this stuff is ass, like straight up. So yeah, that was not a good experience for me. But as far as Dragon Age Origins, I'm feeling differently about how you say you are. I feel like it holds up actually quite nicely.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
for me, I think a lot of it is to do with like how it works with modern systems. Like, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a point in time where like games like Deus Ex just wouldn't run like very well on computers, right? Like on modern computers, there was like something about CPUs being too fast, and the game would be running like super fast, like faster than it was supposed to do, and some other shit like that. And then it eventually fixed itself, right? And that's how I look at Dragon Age. Like you pick it up, you play it again, and it's just like the UI is all fucked because like resolutions got bigger, and like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like playing Diablo 1 right now.
Yeah, I will say that I wish there was a UI scaling in that game, because when you do jack up the graphics, everything is super, super small.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, what is that down there? So yeah, I get that, but maybe as far as just, I don't know, the game mechanics themselves, I don't seem like they are letting me down too much. Though I should have done a little bit of research. I messed up with all my attributes, so yeah.
Yeah, it's an old
I
school
listened to
game.
some chat be like, "Oh, you need to put points in
Shame.
that. You need to put points in that." Whatever.
Shame.
I know. I didn't min max. No.
What are you playing? You're playing a rogue, yeah?
Yeah. I was told to put a lot of strength so I could get damage in my weapons, and I'm like, and I read before that it was cunning is the thing that you max out, and then you could switch over. There's a perk that you can turn all your damage done to by
Strength,
your
yeah.
daggers by cunning instead of strength.
Mhm.
I forgot that, so I was just strength, getting a little bit more damage, and then I
Cool.
found the trade again. I'm like, fuck. So I'll play through this, and then, I mean, if I do it again, I will definitely
Yeah, just get a mod, man.
Nah,
That's all
fuck
I
up.
would do.
and mess around with the attributes.
Yeah. I mean, like, fuck it, man. Who cares? It's your experience. Do whatever you like.
That's true.
There are like books that let you respec.
Are there?
Yeah,
Okay, I thought there were, but I hadn't found any yet. So
Just Google it.
they
find
are
out what
probably a
they
DLC thing.
okay.
are. Oh, yes. In fact, I do remember something like that. Do you have all the DLC? You would have, right? It's like Game of the
Well,
Year
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah. I have all the DLC.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a book that allows you to respec all your everythings.
Plus, there's a Golem elemental party member or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Shale.
That I never got because the DLC came out after I fucking flogged the shit out of that game. So I was like, I'm never gonna play this.
Yeah, this is my first playthrough with her as well. So,
Shell is awesome.
anyways, let's move on to someone else and get this pirate game going.
All right. James, what up, man? How you doing?
Speaking of golems, James.
I was waiting for something like that as well.
Nah. I feel like I always hit James with like my best segues. You know, so I figured I'd be a little bit more lenient. What up, sir? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm good. Really good.
Oh yeah. What have you been up to?
Played Star Trek Bridge Crew earlier. With 4 of us.
Like in VR?
No, we just playing it because they patched it so you didn't have to have VR.
Oh, that sucks. I mean, the whole thing with that VR thing is probably the best part, but yeah.
Unless you're a fan, maybe, of Star Trek and just want to do Star Trek stuff.
And just want to do, yeah. I mean, maybe. I don't know. It seems like a very basic game without that little bit of extra interaction. But I mean, I don't know, James. What do you think?
Yeah, it was pretty good. We enjoyed ourselves. We had a laugh. We blew up a ship when we weren't supposed to. Well, when I say we, I mean 2 of them. Yeah, it was funny. It was enjoyable. It was pretty fun. I mean, we started doing a Star Trek RPG on Sunday, so that's why we sort of decided to do it.
Oh yeah, how's that going?
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, we didn't really get much done because we were still sorting out characters, but everything's now we're all ready to rock and roll on Sunday. So quite look forward to that.
Fantastic. Yeah. What else do you got going on, man?
I've got D&D tomorrow night. We started that last week as well. It was really good. Best like views I've had on a stream from like for quite some time.
Yeah, because it's fucking D&D, man. Like D&D is like, oh, these guys are playing literally the only the only role-playing game I understand. Of course, I'm gonna stay and watch. Like that's and my experience, D&D always draws in a pretty sizable crowd.
What else have I been doing? Reading lots of books.
Oh, what are you reading?
I'm currently reading this book. I'll just make a mess of my room. I'm currently reading my Exalted 3rd edition book, which is like 800 pages.
Oh, so an encyclopedia.
Ready for next Tuesday when we start. Well, it's Wednesday night. It will be Wednesday morning my time, but Tuesday night everywhere else when I start running Exalted 3rd edition, which is going to be daunting. Other than that, just been messing around playing more Warhammer 2 by myself because I've got no friends. That's about it, really. That's all I've been doing.
Wreckage, before we move on to you, I would like to get everyone's opinion on this new Nintendo cardboard Switch thing that they got going on. Do you guys see that announcement?
No.
It's a Nintendo Switch augmented reality game where part of what you do is you build the devices using cardboard, and then you put like the Switch controllers inside the cardboard. Like Lego.
That seems like a lot of work.
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, so I can't hold a conversation about it.
So, like, you know, they get you to build like a fishing rod out of cardboard, and then you put like a Nintendo Switch Joy controller in it, and then you get like vibrant feedback and stuff like that. And they come with like, you know, dimension sizes on how you're supposed to cut the cardboard and piece it together and shit. Looks pretty cool. It's like if Nintendo said, how can we sell cardboard? Like, this Magic the Gathering thing is making a lot of money. How can we get in on that?
It kind of feels like, you know, building plastic accessories that only work for one game isn't a really great ROI.
Mm-hmm.
So if we just sell them cardboard cutouts, which costs us nothing, that's a huge return on investment because nobody's going to, well, most people aren't going to build their own fishing rod out of cardboard. That seems like a pain in the ass. So we'll sell them a cutout.
Yeah, maybe, but they also give you like the directions to do that. Like, and a lot of people were speculating that because it's like a programming game as well, and it teaches kids like engineering and programming and shit. I don't know, it seems pretty cool. Like, if I played my Switch more, because I haven't played a single game on it since I've got it, because I'm waiting for that Pokemon. That's really what it's for, like, honestly.
You can play Darkest Dungeon on it soon.
Yeah, I mean, I have a computer that's better for that. But, yeah. Anywho, Dr. Wreckage, hello.
Hi.
Since no one had any opinions on that shit, I'll just move on.
Nobody knew about it.
Literally got announced like a couple hours ago, so I woke
Why
up
do
and
you
said-
expect anybody else to have the heartbeat of the gaming industry like you do? Like you've got like it's mainlined into your neck. And you hear about stuff. You hear about stuff before it's publicly announced.
I don't have a Switch, so
I mean,
Me
it's
neither.
yeah, you don't need a Switch to like see Nintendo
Sounds like
making
trash to
something
me.
interesting.
I haven't owned a Nintendo system since the Wii, and I got one of the original Wiis, and then it sat on my shelf, and I don't think I bought any games for it after the original like party pack. So, me and Nintendo, I don't know. We've been seeing other people.
We've been seeing other people. What a lovely way to say that. So,
What have you been up to, Ricky?
playing video games,
Anything good recently?
taking medicines. I have been playing Path of Exile again a little bit.
I hear that the Atlas mapping thing that they're doing is like a fucking huge grind. Like,
Well, the map has been around for a
enormous grind.
while. They're sort of so they had the map, then they introduced a bunch more acts, and then now they're going back to sort of like focusing on the map as an end game content thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like honestly, the map is it's way better than any other RPG's end game grind. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like it quite a bit.
Because it's chock full of variety. Whereas like in another game, your end game grind is like go do that one dungeon over and over and over again and farm that one end game boss over and over and over
It kind
again.
of reminds me a lot of the Diablo 3, like randomly generated, like paladin level affected dungeon thing that they have.
They introduced that after Path of Exile.
What? No.
Yeah, Path of Exile had this first.
I'm gonna Google this.
Random like generated maps have been a part of Path of Exile for a very long time. The Atlas being the end game content is a little bit newer, but the actual content of it has been around forever.
All right, I'm gonna. I don't believe you. In Nephilim Rift. All right, let's take a look. I'm gonna see the release date of the Nephilim Rift.
Okay, then look up the release date of Path of Exile, and it's been in Path of Exile since day one.
Okay. Oh god, can I get a release date on this, please? Uh-huh. Anyway, I'm gonna keep looking it up while you do your thing, I guess. But yeah, 2016, I think. No, 2013. Yeah. November. Early November 2013. And what was the other one called? Atlas? Something?
No, Path of Exile. Literally just the beta for Path of Exile had random maps in it.
Well, I mean,
It didn't have-
Diablo had random maps in it too. Like, Specifically, I'm talking about like the end game content where like you open up a thing, you go through it, it gives you a randomly generated map as a piece of end game content. Alright. Atlas of Worlds, is that what it is?
No, that's the newest version.
That's
So
the
that
newest
release date
version? Okay.
would be like
In fairness, you're gonna have a
2017.
you're gonna have a hard time Googling it simply because the map feature wasn't like an expansion. It was just like, hey, this is a feature we've added. But it-
Version 3.1.0, which came out on the 21st of November 2000 and... No, that's not right. That's 2017, because that's
Yeah,
when
it's
it
the
actually
latest
came out.
version. Yeah, like you're looking up the latest version, which is what it's currently called.
Yeah, it's called the Caledron map. Atoll map? No.
Dev Diary Endgame Maps introduced June 26, 2012.
There you go. Look at that. That's interesting. I mean, like, I never made it through all the things of Path of Exile to even experience that, because, like, I got through Path of Exile, but like, the actual mapping part was sort of a little lost on me. But you know, that's interesting. Shit. Well, there you go.
Well, I like that they broke from the Diablo model of, cool, you beat the game. Now go beat the game again, though it's harder now. Oh, you beat it again? Cool. Do it again. Now it's harder.
To be fair, that was like perfected with Diablo 2, and like, you know, I think Torchlight even did it differently. Like, I think Torchlight had something like random map stuff in it too, but like,
Well, I mean, but PoE when it first came out, that's what they did. Like, here's 5 chapters. You've beaten the 5th chapter. Cool. Do it again.
harder difficulty.
Yeah, well, and
Do
that's
it
true.
again.
And that is actually one of my favorite changes that Path of Exile did. Instead of now like the standard Diablo thing of the story, then the story slightly harder, then the story slightly harder, they introduced 10 acts, and it's broken up into 3 parts that get slightly harder, and slightly harder, and slightly harder. But it's a new complete story with new settings in each place.
Agreed.
And then later on in the game, you go back to the old places that were the first acts, but like it's post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
So it's like, here's what the fallout of your actions have been, you jackass, is basically what the game says. Like, way to meddle in shit you don't understand. How's that working out for everybody? Not great.
It seemed like a really good idea at first. So many shiny pieces of loot and
Right. And obviously this great evil thing is just bad, right? Because it's evil. There's no way you could be misinterpreting it. Oh, wait, you ruined the world. Good job.
Yeah. If you're not a hero until you redeem the world after destroying it yourself.
Yeah, no, good point. It's valid.
I just the problem with Path of Exile is like you build a character, you get past Act 5, then you realize you're fucking garbage. You know, like so
I have made 3 mistakes and now my character is unplayable.
yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I made a trap-based guy, and yeah, he's fucking garbage in Act 5. So I was like, oh well, I guess I'll stop playing. All right, Wreckage. I think we're ready.
So last time, you guys went into a temple, and you had all been separated in various ways because some people were here and not, and you made certain deals, and some people jumped over chasms. And the point is, you were in different places, and you all sort of got a piece of the picture. There have been some stowaways that have been brought here over time by various captains for some reason, either accidentally or intentionally. Some number of them seem to be in league with Captain Ratbeard, and that guy who was sick seems to know quite a lot about what's going on. Eventually, you overheard them deciding to activate the location's traps for some reasons, and a great many of them were broken and old, but enough of them worked that there were quite a lot of people on both sides of this little battle who got killed. And as James had seen, you know, the whole temple was built with sort of channels.
It's where canals come from.
Right. It's where little canals come from, and then they grow up and move around the world.
It's like a family tree of canals.
Full of blood.
when there was blood, a whole bunch of things started to activate, like crazy Indiana Jones-esque machinery that doesn't make any sense in really any context. But that's fine. We're role players. We're used to that.
It's actually more concerning when they don't do that, you know?
Right. The captain and his cohorts of all persuasions now find themselves on sort of a great clockwork plinth, is what I would describe it as, suspended over a large cenote of blood, into which the best analogy for us would be like basically control rods are being lowered into, like radiation dampening rods into some sort of reactor, almost.
Okay.
That's what it looks like. What's actually going on, you know, who knows? Especially not some, 15th century pirates. The whole temple has unfolded into a cacophony of machinery, and as a result has become one single giant room instead of many disparate rooms with maze-like features and traps. Everything has basically been dumped into this one room. As such, there are a number of interactables, let's say. Lots of stuff to loot. You can definitely figure your way through. There are the bodies and supplies from the various encampments and positions that were being held. There may even be survivors amongst the rubble. That cannon from earlier is here, though if it survived the fall, that would be miraculous. The four of you have sort of gotten together at the start of this. You've learned nothing about what's going on, really, when you think about it. But hopefully you can figure out, or should have figured out, some amount of a plan in the previous week, since that's basically what I sent you off with. Yeah, like, hey, figure some shit out. So, tell me about it.
Well, I mean, they're on a platform, and that platform isn't moving, but they're on that platform for a particular reason, right?
One would assume.
So, I mean, it's pretty simple in Ricardo's mind, at least, anyway. Get on that platform. You know, this is a case of King of the Hill. Something good is going to happen to them, if they stay on that platform. Well,
either that or they're removing a curse.
Eric came to the same conclusion for different reasons. Eric needs to get up to that platform because the captain's up there, and the captain needs a size 13 Eric boot right up the rectum.
Now, we're not... let us remind ourselves, and by us and ourselves, I mean me remind you, that he has about, 45 people on his team. Just, through happenstance.
I mean, what's the odds of me getting on that platform and, you know, just blending in?
0. It's now a circular clockwork plinth in the middle of a large open space that has a view for everything.
But I'm also
and all 40 of them are on this plinth.
Yes, it's quite large. It's wider than the blood cenote that it is suspended over.
Interesting, but the steam is rising from whatever's happening.
Well, the blood is boiling, is what is happening.
So you said there's a whole bunch of loot and stuff falling down to the bottom.
Cannons, cannonballs as well, I think you said,
Um,
and gunpowder.
Gunpowder kegs and stuff.
I know what Stone wants to do.
Blow
What
it
does
up.
Stone want to do?
Blow it up.
That's what I was
Whoa.
thinking. Get some
No,
powder kegs around
Now,
the base.
hold on, friends. I'm very curious as to see what this
Blow up
device
the
is
iron
intended
rods.
Fuck him.
Listen,
As
there's
I
only
drop
40.
the fat person to the floor with lots of
That's
bullet
right.
shots in him.
Is that the quartermaster?
Mm-hmm.
Was the quartermaster? I suppose is more appropriate.
Now it's a holy. Quartermaster.
How is he religious like that?
He is making a joke.
I think he's referring to the number of bullet wounds in the quartermaster, Ricardo.
But they are not holes; they are bullet wounds.
Well, the ones that go all the way through are holes.
Well, a hole,
Well,
is, a hole is what you
actually,
dig in the ground.
It's
No,
still
a hole. Anything can have a hole in it. There's an ear hole and a nose hole and a mouth hole and a butthole.
Those are orifice, actually.
There are also holes.
They also go all the way through.
I mean, some of them.
How
Was
nose
that
holes don't
Peg
go
Leg
with it.
Pete talking to us?
How far away from a cannon are
It's
we?
bubbles.
So the only cannon is among all of this detritus that has fallen.
Haberdashery.
Yeah, let me also point out that on the bottom floor with all the channels and etc., the again clockwork plinth that they are suspended on is high enough up that they aren't really paying attention to you at this time. You don't have to worry right now about any sort of reprisal from them. But if you start to do something or get up or start to maneuver on some of these suspended platforms to try and get up there, like they would see you and then it would become a situation where they would be acting against you. But for now, you can sort of act with impunity.
So if we go down to get to the cannon and gunpowder and shit,
We're
and blow
already
this
down.
shit.
You're already on the lowest level.
Oh, okay, all right.
We are down here with the stuff.
Okay.
I didn't know me and him got
Right.
down there already.
Yeah,
gonna go
it was
as
assumed that
cannon.
we met up.
Yeah, the sort of last thing was, do you guys meet up? Okay, you do.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, yes, you were saying, James.
So I'm gonna go to the cannon. Does it
Right.
look like it's functional?
That would require a appraisal.
Not a repair roll.
Not a repair roll.
Right. It will be a repair roll.
You did
But-
ask him, does it look functional? And he's like, that would require an appraisal. So,
I didn't know appraisal was a skill.
It's not as guys. Not every adjective or noun that I use is a specific skill.
yeah.
Appraisal is a thing that someone does.
Like
I'm
a
gonna roll
notice.
appraisal.
in,
quick.
in this system, you happen to do that with the repair skill. So yes, you will be rolling that skill.
Sorry.
Do we get beanies back?
Yes, everybody, all of your bennies are at the top of every session, so you all have your full bennies.
Yeah, everyone has 3. I have 4.
So you
I'm not
have
very good at repairing. Is anyone else better? I have got the
Yes.
skill in it, but I'm not very good at it.
well, I don't know if he's
have a
better,
6
but
in it.
Bjorn is narratively supposed to be the repairer.
I've
Yeah.
got a D4.
So?
I could always give it a try. I'll give it a try. Fuck it. Let's see
I
what
mean, the
happens.
worst thing that's going to happen is that you walk away assuming that it doesn't work.
I've got a 7 and a 5.
So this cannon was already quite worn and badly damaged when it hadn't fallen 3 stories into a stone floor. That said, it doesn't have a break in it. It has been dented, but and so some of its structural integrity might be compromised. Its aim is probably compromised. If you were to use it, there would be a non-zero chance of it like exploding.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, like but like it isn't obviously non-functional. It could maybe shoot a cannon. Like it could maybe do the job. like with some time and if you had tools, maybe you could make it more reliable in that sense, but you probably don't have the time and you probably can't find the tools.
I'm a very gifted craftsman. I'm just kidding.
That's
You
why.
have a
That's
D6.
why. That's why you
Yeah.
need that. That's why you need that MacGyver trait because that
Yeah,
would let you
exactly.
jury rig it to the point where you could fire once, probably. Right? So,
It would help. So
But
the
there's
point
an-
the point
Go ahead.
is this can't like to some eyes like out of character. If you fire this cannon, you're going to roll the dice on basically what happens. And it has it almost certainly would lob a cannonball. It less certainly would do so accurately, and less certainly would do so without blowing up. So, like, sort of take stock of how you want to treat that risk, basically. And without a roll, like Prylor, since he's already rolled, if you also are interested in the cannon, you can have that information as well.
Well, lads, I think I'm going to go have a conversation with the captain.
I agree with you. I think this is
it
probably the
may-
best course of action.
There's more than 6 of them up
Yes.
Mind
Which
you, we
why
tried
should-
this not too long ago, and we had to grab that. Stone had to grab the quartermaster, and as you saw, he's full of lead right now.
I did see that, which is why we have insurance. There seems to be a number of things around here. I believe it was mentioned earlier, but perhaps we rig up a powder keg down here.
That was my plan. Yes.
Someone stays down here ready to light it. Should things up there get hostile, we
It's already
blow the thing
hostile.
up and go on our merry way.
I mean, we should just blow the thing
Why?
up.
Why put yourself in danger?
Well, I wish to know what it is that they are doing.
Well, it involves blood, so it's not good.
I mean, you don't know that. Blood transfusions are a thing.
Are they? What's that then?
It's
No,
when
they
you-
would not be a thing yet, Dave. Blood transfusions are
Fine.
way advanced medicine.
Let me change it back. Blood sausage is a thing.
Blood pudding's a thing.
Thrinians made that, you know.
Oh,
with cheese.
he jumped on it. He jumped on it.
Is this
Too
gonna
late.
be the fucking meme of the show? Where we just come up with shit.
My people made that.
What was the one I did last week? I can't fucking remember now.
You claimed cheese, I think.
That was
But
me.
he just claimed cheese.
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire
that's
sauce.
what-
That's right. Yeah.
Well, you tried to claim wine, and I said, "There's no way that you would grow wine. If anybody."
no, I gave that to you.
Wait,
that was I steal it
claim
from you.
vinegar. I claim vinegar.
See, it's very Parisian to cultivate
we're getting off
like
track, 'cause we like
luxury
doing this.
wines, though. Whereas,
Yeah.
in my opinion, Eric, your people are practical, so they would have ales and beers, but wine is sort of impractical.
I would imagine that they may have certainly better wine, but they brew it with our grapes.
I was gonna say you're the one that produced the grapes, so
So, like, I
We've
have to
got-
imagine, like,
We've also
they
got
come
my
over
mind.
and they like own portions of the countryside where
Well,
they
here's what I think.
vineyards.
Well, let's do a little bit more world building. So, the Parisian island is off the southern coast of your sort of Russian mainland. So, what I'm going to go on a limb and say, especially because this is typically true, is that the best grapes for wine are grown on coastlines.
Mhm.
That the coastline of your continent is vineyards for the Parisians, and
Yeah.
you do a lot of grape trade through there.
Yeah.
But
You know
like
what-
the interior is a lot of
Oh yeah, that's wheat. That's
Right.
honey, that's-
Potato.
right,
You-
They
exactly.
invented meat.
and you know what Thrinians like to raid, right?
yeah,
Coastlines.
it's all of our agriculture. 'Cause you dicks. You dicks.
Right. So,
dicks.
so with that little
I
bit of
also
world building
may have
out of the way,
forgotten the name of my country.
I've also forgotten the name of your country.
bread basket.
Bread basket.
Have you got access to the
It
other?
became.
Oh.
It started with a P.
The grocery store.
Yeah, it also started with a P.
Prius. No.
Prius.
Yes, Prius.
Yep, Prius.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fucking car name.
That's 'cause we're
Um,
good for the environment.
right.
Ah.
So anyway, the Right. You were saying you were in the middle of something when we went on this tangent.
Yes, I was planning. I was planning to go up there. Ricardo was with me. The two of them want to just blow the place up. Did I summarize?
I think
our
me
Right.
and Stone,
You were
are
proposing-
stacking barrels. And,
Prylor and James, as Stone and Bjorn, had accurately pointed out that they have 45 people with guns up there, and you were in the process of saying that you had some kind of insurance that would allow you to talk to them without getting shot.
We were going to set up insurance by putting explosives down at the bottom.
I'm gonna
And
do the elaborate black powder trail back to somewhere that's safe as well with my flintlock pistol about to
The problem is
spike
that
it.
there's blood all over the floor. That's not going to work, is it?
Well, more
Well,
of
it's
a
not-
problem
Bloods
is
and channels.
you haven't yet looted a whole bunch of black powder. Now,
I thought it
perhaps
was-
there is a
okay.
whole bunch of black powder to find. Perhaps,
Right.
because all these supplies have come down here, but you haven't
Okay.
done the
So-
looting yet. Go ahead, James.
So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab as many pistols of Fat Bastard as possible and start handing them out.
Okay.
Yes.
Fat Bastard had
Four,
to
right?
himself. He had a bandolier of 8. So
And you disarmed him, cutting the bandolier off him and dropped
right,
it to the floor.
yeah, right. I remember that you left it there because you didn't have.
No, they didn't do that. Prylor kicked him in the balls, and James was figuring out what to do. And then you told him he couldn't loot it, and so they just left it on and pulled him back, and they saved the raise for later.
Right, got it. Right,
Yeah.
that was something we
So-
considered. So you do have the eight pistolets.
I read the rules on grapple and how it should work. On a raise, it allows me to act freely rather than having him as a burden. So
That's
really.
so that's
So
what it's
that's-
supposed to be. Got it.
Mhm.
So you could have acted freely, but you did anyway.
which
Pretty
we
much.
did.
Right. So, because I really fucking hate other grapple rules anyway. So, like, if you win a grapple, in my estimation, at least that turn, you get to hold them hostage. Then when it's their turn, they'll try and do something, right? But like for your
Yeah,
action,
grapple rules are always fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Name one system with decent grapple rules, and I'll call you a liar.
The WWE.
I mean, does anyone even play that?
So anyway, right. So there's 8 pistols here, which is not nothing. They are loaded with shot because he didn't fire. So you have 8 pistols ready to go, which means each of you could have 2.
I have the one. I'm probably never going to fire it. So,
And you're never gonna use it, so
I mean,
Alright.
it's more of a
I'll give-
talking piece. So.
I'll give 3 of them to Prylor. I'll
Oh,
keep
yeah.
one for myself, and I'll give the rest.
I don't
to
need
you.
one.
Okay, I'll give them.
I'll take the whole bandolier if you can.
Okay, so it
I'll
looks
just
like
take one.
okay. Stone has 1 pistol, and Bjorn now has 7.
Exactly. They're like, no reloading, just throw them.
Right. So you're now Reaper.
Well,
Right.
at least for 7 shots, he's Reaper.
I mean, that's all
Does
he
he have-
really needs to
Does
be
the,
Reaper for.
does he have any? Does he have any shinies on him, like coins?
I mean, he's a pirate. He's got jewelries and golds, and he's an officer. So yeah,
Go for
he's
his teeth.
I'm gonna
He's-
take his belt as well.
all right.
It's
All
a
right.
leather belt.
Yeah, it's a nice belt.
I'm gonna hand. I'm gonna hand. Oh my god, I need names. I'm gonna hand Bjorn the sword and the belt.
I'll get another sword.
The weird.
The
No,
green-
I think
the
it
green
means
one.
the one that is
Oh,
made out
okay.
of weird stuff.
You're good with swords.
So you just have all the weapons, and the rest of us will talk.
Oh,
I mean,
no, I'll
I
take the green
am
one back.
also reasonable with weapons.
I'll hand him the belt, but say no. I'll keep hold of it. I've got loads of carry space. I'll carry shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're giving me a lot of stuff, man.
So
Yeah, hold this basket of grenades. Okay.
Nothing could go wrong with the basket of grenades.
Yeah, no.
Actually, we could use them right now.
you hear someone walking up to you.
I'll turn around.
I pull
fists
out my
raised.
7 pistols and aim them at them.
7 pistols all at once. Got it. Don't know how you do that.
Skill.
Carefully.
Hey, look, it's Bubbles. It's Peg Leg Pete. Only he's missing an arm now.
Well, that is unfortunate. We were sleeping in one of the spike beds when it happened.
I'm going to move to treat his missing arm.
He's already treated it.
Okay.
In so much as like the bleeding has stopped and like his shirt is hanging there like already tied up like a ball at his so he's missing his left arm now. He was originally missing his right leg. So
Did you give that to the sea witch or something?
no, you crazy bastard! This whole place just turned upside down and fucked me.
Yes, we noticed.
I noticed.
Blood.
Oh, did you notice? Because I'm not seeing many missing limbs amongst y'all.
Well, we dodged.
Exactly.
We have-
We noticed, so we dodged. Yeah.
Oh, now you're making fun of me, are you?
No,
There's
just
nothing
giving
funny
you the
about the man
information.
who's lost his leg, so... No.
No.
Anyway, Bubbles, it's good to see you. Glad you're still alive.
Oh,
2 more
I'm glad
months to
I'm
go.
still alive too. Tell me, what are y'all planning on doing here?
Well, could you lend us a hand here? Because, we got stuff to do.
It's gonna awkwardly like.
I mean, there's plenty of pistols around. You could potentially arm yourself.
Gents, lads, it's not okay. It's not okay. But they are right, Bubbles.
Eric, I heard you were planning on going up there and negotiating some sort of armistice.
Yes, negotiate an armistice.
Bubbles, you're a very wise man of the sea. Would you have perchance heard of a rumor of some sort of blood thing like this?
Fuck no! This ain't of the sea, lad. This is some ancient land temple bullshit. For the people who are on land. Now, you want to hear about leviathans and sea chests and sirens and sinkholes and whirlpools and
Sinkholes would be land-based, wouldn't they?
no.
They can be both land and sea.
Yeah.
Because it turns into a whirlpool, right? Because the water would be sunking into the
But he
land.
then later said whirlpool.
Right. No, I'm
That's
saying
like confusion.
there are multiple look, if we want, I can happily get, I don't think it's relevant right now. I can get into the details later. Right now, the captain who betrayed us and left us for dead and killed all our men and some other fellas are up on some godforsaken phallic object jetting out of a pool of blood of our comrades.
How
And
we
I'm
burn it
wondering
up?
what... Well, that's great. Do you have, say, 4 barrels of gunpowder lying around?
I don't know. Do we? How many barrels of gunpowder do we have laying around?
You have
But,
found a grand total of none so far.
Can I look around?
You
For
can
any?
spend time and do a roll to attempt to loot for specifically gunpowder. If you want to loot for just anything, it'll increase the difficulty of you finding gunpowder.
I am looking for kegs of gunpowder or grenades or any kind of
Can you use
explosive.
bennies to like increase the result, like pre-roll anything?
No.
Okay.
Like even those, like how they used to wrap the gunpowder in like linen so it's easier to shove down cannon.
Yeah, but that would be of well, all right. So you're looking for
gunpowder of any kind. even
period,
Grenades,
right,
Yeah,
end of sentence.
explosives.
Aha!
So-
Found a speck of gunpowder. Your success worked.
So we will be rolling notice for this, and whoever wants to spend the time to loot for gunpowder can make this roll. The result is at -1
Wait, why is it at -1?
because of the difficulty of finding it.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Sorry, I was
Because it is hard, Dave.
No, you mentioned it as the results at -1. I was like, oh, okay, so you're not taking away from the roll. That's a weird way of doing it, but yeah, okay.
You don't lower dice in this system. You lower results.
Oh, really? Okay.
because
Yeah,
of
you-
explosions.
Yeah, you never lower dice.
Can you assist?
In this case, you would be performing your own separate action.
Okay. All right. Just
If
because
you-
I'm
if-
not the greatest at notice, but sure.
Neither am I.
I'll give it a
Ultimately,
fucking go.
whether you were assisting or making your own separate roll, you would be equally helpful because in order to assist, you have to succeed on your roll. So,
So, Wreckage, just as a question, I want to go up to the thingamabobber.
sure. Now, when you say that, you mean at this level, the blood pool and the rods, right?
Well, I want to go up where the captain is.
Oh, you want to go up there
Yeah, I want to go
with no insurance policy?
Well, not yet. They're all searching for gunpowder.
Okay.
So to go up there,
Right.
would I need like a grappling hook?
No,
there-
you can make that without much effort. So, the put into your mind, okay, the video game Portal
Mhm.
and how a room would be featureless, and then a whole bunch of tiles and panels would move into position and make a bunch of platforms.
Mhm.
Now imagine that Portal is super old and hasn't been maintained. So a lot of them are like half out or fallen or whatever. The point is there seems to be an intentional layout of platforms and etc. In this space, and it is improperly configured where quite a lot of them are like half down as like a ramp. Anyway, you can move up to suspended platforms, then go to other suspended platforms, and basically you'd be able to make your way there.
Is there a possibility to do that exact same thing, though stealthily and like
There's
climb
no
out
chance
sight?
of being stealthy.
Climb-
There's zero
no,
chance.
Okay.
It's literally open space. Like the whole space is open with platforms.
Yeah, we just haven't been noticed because we are on a different elevation, and they don't care about us right now.
Unless you had the power to turn invisible, there's no chance to do stealth here because, like from their position, they can just see everything.
All right.
Well,
good
if
to
you
keep in
threw a
mind.
blanket over you like that, would that help?
Sometimes,
it's-
James, I'm sitting here and I get confused between your character and like you, and whether you're trying to make a joke or whether you're actually like playing as Stone, and it confuses me so much.
What? There's quite a difference between Stone and me.
I know, I get that, but it still trips me up every time when you say, like, "Why don't you just put a blanket over your top?" I don't know if you're just being like sarcastic or you're playing the shit out of Stone.
Dave's a little
Dark.
slow.
I assume it's dark. I assume it's pitch black down, or very dark down here.
Torches.
There's all sorts of self-lighting torches in this place. Now that the space has opened up, every source of light, including on the top level, there were a bunch of skylights I described. So all of that light is now streaming in as well, because there's just nothing now. There's no actual rooms or layouts to the space. It's completely open.
Okay, well, searching for
Did
gunpowder.
you lads find any gunpowder?
I got a 4, so I might spend a penny and re-roll it.
No, a 4 is a success.
Oh, okay.
You have found a barrel of gunpowder, which would it's not totally full. You could definitely fire the cannon, maybe even more than once with this gunpowder.
We
This
need to
isn't quite.
destroy one of the pillars, though, right?
There aren't quite pillars, and
How is the pedestal being?
The rods,
Suspended.
right?
That's what I mean. The rods.
the iron rods would not be destroyed by a barrel of gunpowder. No, they're not stone. So this is not quite enough to hold the mechanism hostage. It wouldn't be that. It's enough to work the cannon for sure.
You said there's like chains going up and cogs and stuff. When was it we destroyed that?
So all the chains and cogs seem to be in service of keeping various platforms suspended or putting them in correct positions. You could definitely destroy them and fuck that all up. There isn't a clear connection between the sort of temple unfolding mechanism and this central dais. Like You're not sure how any of it works, so you're not sure that fucking with the sort of configuration mechanisms will actually like impede their goal. I mean, you don't know if this is some sort of doom laser or like a machine that turns them all into the Hulk. Like, you have really no idea at all what they're trying to do. There's a lot of stuff you could easily break, but with no clear like understanding of the mechanism.
Well, there you go.
All right, so Yurik, you were asking, and we sort of got sidetracked. Like, can you make it up there? And the answer is yes, effortlessly. You wouldn't have to make any athletics rolls, but they would 100% see you. Now, if you're waving a white flag, maybe they don't shoot you on sight. They shot the other guys, but maybe you're not with them.
They didn't shoot them on sight. He did actually talk to them, and
yep, he did. He would probably shoot them on sight again.
Which is why they were going to stay down at the bottom as our insurance policy.
Right. So I don't want to give the illusion that time isn't passing, but obviously your characters aren't sitting around as much as we are. So not much time has passed, but time is passing, and as it passes, things continue to happen with the mechanism. There is conversation occurring on the dais. It's kind of rowdy, but and clear words can't be heard. Although you do get the distinct impression that Captain Ratbeard is doing a lot of the talking.
I really don't like Captain Twatbeard.
So back to my original question: did you find enough gunpowder to blow the dais?
Half a barrel.
I didn't find any.
Well, that's
Well, you can always lie about it.
Did you find any barrels that look like gunpowder barrels?
I'll pick up the barrel that I've got, which is half full.
It would be a hell of a bluff, Ricardo.
All you need is one explosion to serve your point.
I don't know about that, lads. We don't actually know what's going on here, right? So any bluff that we have is working on a lot of missing information. What if they don't care about explosives for some reason? I certainly don't see that. But it's a lot to wager. If only there was some way for us to know anything, really.
But we don't. We don't know diddly squat, do we? Do we know anything?
I don't know. Do we know anything? We all
Jeremiah
got separated.
Well, the only
Jeremiah was tight-lipped.
the only thing that I can say is obviously it requires a large amount of blood.
Jeremiah. Oh, his lot probably fell down here too. Maybe one of them's alive.
Didn't
don't-
even realize someone could live through all this.
Well, I sure survived. I mean, I'm worse for the wear.
You survived everything. You fell off a boat, lost a leg.
And now I've fallen off a chasm and lost an arm. So it's all very, symmetrical, really.
I suppose.
Y'all survived.
I mean, are there survivors? Like, are there people like groaning and like, oh god, I have fallen and I can't get up?
There's a possibility of that. It would be one of the things that you could loot for. But remember that looting takes some of your precious time.
Well, I will go ahead and try to find survivors, I guess.
Now, is anyone going to assist him or look for something else during this segment of looting?
I'm trying to think.
So I'm unskilled in notice. How do I do that?
It's a -2 on your roll, I believe. On skill.
But your wild die will be unaffected. So that's
Yeah.
basically going to be the...
So it's just -2 to the result, basically. Yeah.
Right.
So just roll a d4 with -2.
Roll a d4
No,
and the
If you
wild
look
die.
if you look on the catch sheet, where it says skills.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, there you go. You found it.
Yeah, cool. I rolled a 0 and a -1.
Well,
Wait, it does affect the thingy.
It does affect wild die.
even if it hadn't affected the wild die,
Oh,
that
yes. I mean,
wild
it
die still would not have
didn't-
succeeded.
Didn't matter. So
Is anybody else going to be searching during that sort of period of
Yeah,
time? 'Cause
I'll,
I need to
I'll-
resolve the whole sort of time block.
I'll help Eric with his
All right.
notice roll.
All right. You have a success, Ricardo. So you will find a survivor.
It's like a hand sticking out of some rubble or something. You know?
You pick it up and it's Bubbles' hands.
And there's
The
another one
survivor-
next to him. Yeah.
The survivor is in fact Jeremiah.
All right, I'll pull him out, bring him to like the area that we're at.
Now, while you were searching for survivors, more has occurred since time has passed. The clockwork dais plinth that they're on has produced more mechanical, I'll say bars, I guess. They sort of come out at if the circular dais was a clock, they come out at 12, like 3, 6, 9, 2, 5, 7, and 10, I guess. You know what I mean? They sort of come out at perfect angles, and they start curving upwards on it as well.
Like to the ceiling?
Well, not to the ceiling of the entire place, just curving up over the dais.
Like okay, kind of like encapsulating it, almost like making it into a cup.
They're very thin bars, but yeah, they are encapsulating it.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I'm more interested. I really want to get up there now. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. And that's certainly on the table. But again, there's the risks involved. Anyway, you rescue Jeremiah. And he's a little dazed. Eric, you want to
heal him, yes.
yes. Happily. Forsooth. You bring him round, you give him some smelling salts or something on your person. The point is he's banged up, he's bruised, he's probably got a broken rib, maybe. But like he's not in any sort of critical condition. He'll live. He's in a lot of pain, but you bring him sort of out of his daze. Bloody hell, what? Eric?
Jeremiah.
Oh, what the bloody hell happened?
Looks like the captain decided that you holding that position wasn't as important anymore.
What? You're going to have to be a little more specific.
point his
Well-
head up there so he can see them cackling maniacally as they breathe in the fumes of boiling blood. Like, that should solve his problems, right? Like,
It seems the captain activated the mechanisms of this place and sacrificed everybody who wasn't on the dais to whatever this place is. Which, by the way, Jeremiah, I'd be really interested in knowing what this place is.
Oh,
What was it you lads were willing to die for? Because dying is what all of the lads did.
Jeremiah sort of rubs his head and sits up a little bit. And, you're like, oh, whoa, steady there. That sort of thing. And he's like, well, I mean, it's the risk you take when you throw your lot in with pirates.
Magical voodoo? I was not aware that was a regular thing that happened.
No, betrayal, you daft ninny. 8 less shares and so forth.
Shares of what, Jeremiah?
It's a good question. I don't quite know where to begin.
Begin quickly.
Right. Jesus.
Wait,
Well-
before
well-
he says anything, perhaps, maybe, if you will allow me, Eric, why don't we just take the man up there with us and say, oh, we've found a survivor of our group, and join them?
I literally just said that they. You literally just said that they threw me away so they'd have less shares.
Yes, but I don't think this is a share thing. I think this is a trusted companions thing. And if we're with you, perhaps he will think that we are within his compadre.
I'm literally here because they betrayed me and threw me away for dead.
It's true, Ricardo. Besides,
I don't know how more clear it could possibly be.
when we
How
go
do you
up there, I want to know what it is they're doing.
Right. I'm trying to get there.
How
you know,
distracted are they? I mean, they're bickering, aren't they? It sounds like they're all bickering amongst each other.
it's not exactly necessarily bickering. It's just a lot of row. You know, it might even be sea shanties for all you can sort of like in the echo, and so many of them are talking. There certainly aren't fighting or anything. There's no chaos up there. Anyway, to get to Jeremiah answering Eric. Right. So, well, first things first, we're all alive, which is fine.
I don't know how much longer though.
Well, I've got good news for you, Stone. Nothing about any of this, so far as I understand it, is going to kill us. So, honestly, we could just get the fuck out of here, which I'm inclined to do. But
That is a good point.
yeah, what?
On the way here, did any of us see any large volumes of water that could potentially be
You mean
diverted?
aside from the ocean?
Yeah, like rivers and stuff. There was a lot of water in this place at one point.
Right. And there is water. Like there are streams of water that are helping to carry the blood into the Seno. But this place, this entire temple, is a you didn't really get a good look of it because it was enshrouded in mist when you came up on it. But it was, on the other side of this chasm, and what it really is like a rocky outcropping on this island, all on its own, and the whole thing has been hollowed out to make this temple.
So battle plan, blow a hole in the wall and fill it with water, probably not going to work.
Right, because it's all above water. It's like it's all above sea level. So back to Jeremiah's response. Nobody's going to be dying as far as I understand it. Now, I'm not a member of the most innerest circle, as you can clearly see. But I was made aware of the essentials. As I understand it, the story they tell, there were Captain and a crew of his, nigh on 3 decades ago, found this place and figured out that it used to be some kind of, well, I struggle to use the same flattery and verbiage that the storyteller who told me used. I gather it was a special place for some sort of ancient folk, as you can. I mean, that much is clear, right? Ancient temple and all that.
Yeah.
The gist of it is that we needed a lot of people to die here all at once to turn the thing on, and I'm not quite sure why. But the thing is supposed to be well, I'm not quite sure if it's a ceremony or a ritual or a sacrifice to some sort of god or a mechanism or a tool or what have you. But you get the blood in the place, and you spill the blood in the place, and you turn the thing on, and then you can go from here to another island.
That's it? You were willing to die to go to a different island. They make ships.
Yes, of course, you Daphne, they make ships, but this is one of those islands what can never be found except for those who know where it is. That sort of thing. A mystical doorway for a mystical island, that sort of thing.
Do you know any rumors about the island itself that they wish to go to?
They promised us treasure and wealth and power beyond measure. Something about those who are at this island have great influence over the rest of the world. And
Jeremiah, I don't mean to interrupt, but at what point was this only something the captain could do?
Him and his best man and some other people in his inner circles are the ones who knows how to turn that thing on.
They pulled a switch, Jeremiah.
You weren't there, first of all, Eric, son of Eric.
Okay. They pulled a switch.
There. Happy?
Well, I reckon to someone like Stone, it might appear that all they did was pull a switch, but I'm sure it was much more complicated than that.
There is one
no,
thing.
they pulled a switch.
Now, who here would just feel comfortable waltzing into an ancient temple, assured that even though they haven't translated any of the runes and inscriptions, and even though they haven't studied the people or their machine, that they could make it work? Well, then you're an arrogant fool, Eric, son of Eric.
No, but before you go into too much more detail, there is one part of your story that is omitted. Or maybe you don't know, but I found evidence that they were collaborating with a government of some type.
No, not to my knowledge.
Interesting.
Also, you didn't find any evidence of that, Dave.
Didn't I? Wasn't that the whole point of why I was sneaking around on the ship?
You never found anything because you kept failing. Like,
I snuck into the
you
whatever.
found like your basis for them working with the government was because they were privateering. Like, this was an official vessel, like with contracts and etc. But Jeremiah will be happy to explain that, like, well, yeah, they let a bunch of ships out here. Some of them were privateer vessels, some of them were pirate vessels. Like, the goal was to get as many drunken slobs off onto this island as possible, because dozens and dozens of men had to die here.
Okay. Well,
So, we need to be on the dais if we want to go to the island of treasure and power. Yes.
Well, okay, yeah, and it would be great and all to do that. But the captain has nigh on 40 men, as far as I can figure. And I don't imagine that we have much by way of negotiating our way onto that plinth. And I don't feel particularly great about killing 40 men. So I'd rather just leave, honestly. But,
We just kill the captain?
well, then one less share for the rest of them, and then they kill us. I mean, him and his best mates probably all know how to work it. The quartermaster probably knows how to work it. I suppose we could negotiate with him.
Not anymore, he doesn't.
Oh, quartermaster's dead, right? Okay, that's progress. His best mate probably knows how to work it. And they left somebody here to look after the castaways. He probably knows how some measure of the device works.
well, unless you know how to repair a ship, we're not going anywhere either.
Well, every pirate worth his salt knows how to help repair a ship.
Do
I'd
you
much
know
rather.
a ship that can sail the seas with only 5 people? Because everyone else, as far as I can tell, is either on that plinth or in that well.
As I recall, you left a contingent of me men tied up outside.
2 men does not a ship sail.
It was more like 5, so you're kind of up to 10-ish.
That's like 24/7 like boating action right there. Like,
Yes, it is better than trying to fight our way against 40 men. Unless, Eric, you have some sort of plan. And I don't see the twinkling light of a plan in your eye like I saw as last time.
The only thing that I can think of is
we wouldn't be fighting 40 men with 5 we wouldn't be fighting 40 men with 5 if someone hadn't been so goddamn stubborn about holding that initial room.
Well, you can understand the position I currently found myself in, which was by the position that I found myself in at the time was that the promise of ultimate power or helping some scallywags who don't know their ass from their head in this situation get revenge for a mutiny. Now, I appreciated your position, Eric, son of Eric, but with my information, it was the better call at the time. Yes, you turned out to be right, and I'm not.
Oh.
He just wants to
it's
hug
like he's giving him a hug.
Eric, you cut out there. Yeah. Yes, 2020 hindsight, etc. You turned out to be right. I'm not too big a man to admit that, and I'll be happy. Since you saved me and pulled me from the wreckage, I'll be happy to go along with whatever you and your band of miscreants decides is best. You get no argument from me at this point. I just don't see what you're planning to do.
Well, lads, do we go to the dais and fight, or talk? Do we leave?
I think we make a deal with the man.
All right, a deal.
I mean, the thing is, we need to thin the air, don't we? That's the thing.
We have to have something for dealing with. Something. We just need something that makes them want to extend the shares by 5, which isn't 6. I'm sorry.
6.
Yes,
Yeah.
we just need just enough that it's worth extending the shares by 6. And I don't think that that's too far of a stretch. Just something that we can hold over the captain's head. Now, I'm not seeing anything like that with me own 2 eyes.
So, the idea that's going through my head is we roll a lit barrel of fucking gunpowder into the room.
It's a little
Like
more...
throw it up on the platform.
It's probably too high to be thrown up.
It's only half a barrel, maybe. I don't know.
It's half a barrel.
And you're
it's
really
lit.
strong.
And just exploding would be, you'd throw wood shrapnel at them. You'd probably want to get shot and fill the barrel with shot too.
It just basically fill it halfway with things to cause shrapnel.
Right. The only difficult part would be delivery. You could easily get metal scraps from the loot around here. It's how are you going to huck a barrel filled with?
Ricardo's pretty. I don't know. He wants to go up there. We can strap it to him.
Question.
Yes.
From the quartermaster and just cursory glances, is there enough gold shiny bits to, say, cover the opening diameter of that barrel with gold shiny bits?
I see where you're going with that. I think that would be exceedingly difficult to set up. I mean, you do have all of the sort of pieces.
We've got a barrel. It's half
Right.
full with dynamite. We
Right.
fill it 3/4 of the way.
Black powder.
Black powder, excuse me.
If it was half filled with dynamite, you would be way in business.
Yeah, way in business. So it's half filled with gunpowder,
Mhm.
or black powder, excuse me. We fill the rest of it, most of the way up, with random metal debris.
Mhm.
Then the top bit we cover in valuables. We carry it up with us. We offer it as trade.
There's a slight hole in your plan, Eric, son of Eric. At least from their perspective, what with them believing this legend and all, they're looking forward only a few minutes to a point where a barrel of gold really means quite nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Consider it then that it would be our coverage of transport costs, maybe. And
I don't think that's going to be. I don't think that's going to be possible because me and Bjorn went in there and he just shot at us. They tried capturing us and we weren't having any of it.
Well, they tried capturing you.
Could we pretend to be capturing you? Offer you as
Well, no, because
You-
you probably
you-
shoot us
you-
on sight
you
now
in the
because
barrel.
we killed the quartermaster. Well, they killed.
looks like
Oh,
they
to the-
killed
yeah,
the
I was gonna say.
quartermaster.
Perhaps we could combine the two sorts of things that we're thinking about here. Two of us don't feel like they can walk up and talk, which is fair enough, but the other two maybe can, and maybe that's an avenue towards disrupting their goings on. You know, how does maybe Eric and Ricardo being able to go up and talk lead to being able to?
So, is there any way of making a roll to maybe understand, like, that there is a setup to this that is eventually coming to a head, and just being able to get onto the plinth at the moment of
No way,
necessary?
impossible.
Okay.
That would be, you would have to be a character whose shtick was knowing what this kind, like, about this civilization or about what, like, you, and even then it would be a role. In this case, there's just no role that you could conceivably.
Question:
Right,
If James and Prylord
right.
circle round the plinth to where the bulk of the dudes are,
Hmm.
and both of them were to lift and throw this barrel of gunpowder
Problem is,
at the dude.
problem with that whole idea is I don't have the skill throwing.
Well, that's
It's
not the
strength.
problem with that.
Pure
The problem with that is that the plinth is 2 stories off the ground. So
Right. Is
a
there any
barrel
chance
filled
that-
with gunpowder and shrapnel is never in a million years going to be thrown by 2 men up 2 stories. Now, a trebuchet, maybe, if you want to try and build a trebuchet in the middle of all this that could throw a barrel over there, that's a bit of a stretch. If you wanted to, maybe if you
I
had
mean,
some sort of,
you could do a basic fulcrum, just get debris in a plank, put it on the end of the plank, and you wouldn't have any accuracy, and it might just explode in the air,
I'm-
not doing anything.
Time it with a fuse so it explodes
I'm
midair.
gonna look up. I'm gonna look up.
so you'll see the topmost ceiling of the temple from here. It's far away. You can't see a lot of details because there are a bunch of openings through which jungle and sunlight are pouring in, so it makes a high contrast.
If we were to shoot a cannonball at the roof, would it come down?
Or without being up there to see the place, if the structural integrity of the roof is in question in any way, a cannonball might be enough to do it. But quite a lot of shit moved around in here quite recently and didn't cave the roof in. I'd say that and then you have to hit above the dais, and then if the roof caves in, it has to fall on the dais. That's a lot of ifs, is all I'm saying. If you're going to be firing that cannon, I might just fire it right at the dais and hope for the best. If it was me.
We either talk to them or we sabotage them. That's the only 2 options I see.
Well then,
Thus, we lead back to the question I had: do we want to fight, or do we want to leave?
Well, if we fight, we're gonna die because we're outgunned and outnumbered.
I think you're underestimating yourself and us, Stone.
I certainly think that I certainly think that we're like 9/10 of the way to a clever plan that could turn the tide of battle, but we're not quite at that final 10th. We got a barrel of half black powder, and we could make a bomb, and that would certainly help. But we have no idea how we're going to deliver it, and that's a problem.
I honestly think that we should go with the plan of pretending it is gold, because men of greed have no lust, have no stopping point. What's another barrel of gold? What they might get there, and they might discover that it is something of only value to people in one part of the world.
It's also a sure thing. They see the barrel of gold in their hands or close to it. This legend or whatever curse is only a. They haven't seen it yet, so they don't know that it exists.
I think they've seen it. I mean, you've got a bunch of superstitious sailors on a dais that's floating in the air and causing all sorts of crap and bullshit to happen. It's certainly enough to put the faith of God in me. Now, does that mean
completely something else that they're not aware of?
They're not exactly a group of skeptics. I'm not saying the barrel of gold isn't a way in. But
the longer we sit here and talk about this, the closer they are going to get to what they want.
Well, luckily the GM is running this event in time intervals, and until we take an action, time doesn't really pass.
What about if we put the satchels, got some cloth and filled some of the, made a few little pouches of
Made smaller
gunpowder
bombs instead of using the barrel,
and then use that.
That's certainly more practical to transport. Does it let 6 men take on 40 men? That's a bit of a question. Maybe. I think that's a half decent idea. We could certainly bring small bombs and talk. And if the talking doesn't go well, we can fall back on the small bombs. But I wouldn't fancy our odds.
Oh! I've got an idea.
Yes, Stone.
So maybe you three, right, go up or whatever, or you two go up, and me and Bjorn stay here, and you can say that we're dead.
All right, it's much easier to talk 3 on than 6.
Because they don't think we're alive, and then they won't be on guard as much, maybe, so that we can potentially sneak up and crack some heads.
If I have no way of sneaking up, I doubt you will suffice.
Yeah, but if they're not paying attention, and they're paying attention to you...
There is only one way up there.
If we have a big old conversation, there's certainly a distraction happening. But to use that distraction to run up and knock a guy in the head is a little bit of a waste.
If I may, if we take your idea about... splitting the black powder up, you then might be able to throw it. So put it in small containers, have the two of you at 2 different spaces, start throwing. Now explosions are happening. Maybe you kill some of them, maybe you just distract them. Gives me and Ricardo time to take out the captain.
And if I might say, I'm not hearing a lot of talk amongst y'all 6 of, boy, I sure want to go to that Mystic Island and grab that mystic power.
Oh, no, I do.
That goes without saying.
Right, well, what I'm saying is, it sounds like the lot of you would be fine on settling your score with the captain. And maybe this whole equation changes a little bit if the only goal is the captain is dead at the end of all this and the rest of us get away. And that's slightly different than killing 40 men and claiming the dais for ourselves.
Well, the way I see it is that they all tried to kill us.
Certainly. At the captain's orders.
Right. They still had a choice.
Here, Jeremiah, I'll tell you you should have gotten a good idea of my character by now, but if I can spare those 40 men, go to the island, get the treasure, and sail off into the sun and return back home to Prius. That's what I'll be doing. I don't want to kill 40 men. But if they refuse to follow me or Ricardo or hell, even you, Jeremiah, and insist on helping the captain, then they've got to die.
All 40 men. Because that's a tall order, Eric, son of Eric.
Well, they have a choice once the captain's dead.
So we are trying to kill the captain first and foremost. I'm just trying to get a hold of me.
That's what I want to do.
Okay, so when might I suggest we have Bjorn and Stone make these smaller bombs that they could huck. We get them into position. The 3 of us go and negotiate. And if negotiations break down, we have some sort of code word that is basically start hucking the bombs. And in the chaos, our primary goal is that the captain is dead, hopefully to turn the tide of negotiations, but at the very least to cut the head off the snake. And then we can reappraise the situation on the field and see if it's going well enough that we can kill all 40 of them, or if the captain being dead is a satisfactory conclusion and we withdraw.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Sounds like we've reached a plan, gentlemen. Does anybody have a discordance?
So when you say code word, we throw stuff, yeah? Is that what you say?
Well, something that we wouldn't say normally in conversation, but we work it in as soon as we've... No. As soon as
we don't say you're welcome.
Well, it might. It's a little bit more like than peach or something. How likely are we to say peach?
Pineapples.
Right. Anyway, the point is, it's some sort of word that we're not going to say otherwise in the conversation, and if we say it, it means start hucking bombs.
All right. So you don't say code word.
Not specifically.
Why don't you
word.
make the code word scrotum?
Scrotum.
That way you can call a man a scrotum. It's not out of place, and it starts.
Or you really have us by the scrotum.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. You really have us by the scrotum is a perfect thing that you would say when negotiations are breaking down, but also wouldn't come out of our lips otherwise. All right.
One can only hope.
I'm on board. I've been betrayed by the captain now as well. I wouldn't mind getting revenge.
I
guess we should make some bombs.
Bjorn, Ricardo, Bubbles.
Aye.
As
The
long
GM
as,
only has one pirate voice, so discerning between Jeremiah and Bubbles is going to be kind of hard.
Aye.
well, as long as we get to go wherever this dais takes us, it'd be a waste to waste a magical
I don't want to give up.
teleportation.
I want to walk up to Bubbles
Uh-huh.
and go, "Can I take that sleeve? You don't need it anymore."
Why do you want me sleeve?
To put, to cut up and use as like small parcels of the black stuff, gunpowder, not gold powder.
Right. I guess.
Or we could do it round for the body. Oh no, we could just use fat bastard. There we go.
You can't use meat.
No, you use
No, I mean his
shirt.
clothes.
Oh, well, sure, of course.
Meat bombs. Woo!
All
See a
right.
head rolling over. Boom! Explodes.
We could cut his head off and stuff it full of
No.
gunpowder.
So I want...
No. No.
So let's move...
shrapnel.
Let's
Bone
move to
shrapnel.
some resolutions of mechanics here. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the most efficient way that we could sort of bring ourselves to being ready to this plan is if half of you were making bombs and the other half of you were grabbing the shrapnel and et cetera. So Ricardo and Eric, who don't have repair rolls, can roll me notice checks.
I don't think Eric has notice check neither.
Right, he doesn't, but
You're rubbish.
in this particular situation, Eric is falling a little short.
I've got survival.
Prylor and James can go ahead and roll me repair rolls, and that'll basically just sort of see either how much time it takes or how many bombs you end up with. Good. Big success there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Expected.
And I still have yet to roll above a 1 for tonight.
It'll come in when you're doing the negotiating, which will be much more useful.
Boy, howdy, I hope so.
Captain, we're here to parlay. One. Bang, 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 bang.
Damn. James is on
You
fire.
really got us by the scrotum.
Just immediately. Right, so that's a success with a raise.
No, it's just like, we're here to scrotum. Damn it!
Don't say scrotum right away. Don't say scrotum right away. Don't say scrotum right away.
Hello,
Nice to
Captain
scrotum you. Damn it!
Hello, Captain Scrotum.
Bjorn,
Yes,
I need a repair roll from you as well.
I did. I was the first one to roll.
Oh, you're the first one to roll? Okay. So one of you failed, and one of you failed, and one of you succeeded, and
you
the other one
guys-
succeeded
you
with a
still
raise.
Do you want to send beanies on
You
this?
still got bennies that you can use.
You got Benny's, Bjorn.
This is going to determine either between the two of you the time and the amount of bombs you end up with, which might be relevant.
Does Stone rolling really good?
Hey, oh yeah, it's already. I mean, he rolled with a raise, which is
He
good.
rolled 2 4s
Like
right there,
okay.
back to back
Do
to back.
do
so-
better, Bjorn.
So just roll again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can if you want to spend the Benny. No one's forcing you.
I am.
Oh,
Ah,
he's
yeah.
forcing you.
All
Never mind, you have to do it
you
then.
Spin a benny.
What was I doing? Repair?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
Damn it!
the hell?
really
You can
well
spend a
done.
penny again.
What's
Yeah.
that?
You can spend as many bennies as you
I
like.
wouldn't just sink bennies into this. Clearly, the dice don't want him to succeed right now. But that's up to you.
You've got 2 more Bennies. What's the worst that could happen?
You're about
Get
to
into
fight
You
40
combat.
men.
also
Yeah,
sending-
get into
you also
combat and
sending
nothing
shots.
happens.
So maybe
Yeah.
maybe save them for the shots.
Yeah, shots. So, between the two of you, and between Eric and Ricardo searching and bringing supplies and helping, and Stone and Bjorn making bombs.
Actually, I'm sorry. Instead of doing a notice and failing and not accomplishing anything in this time, are either Bubbles or Jeremiah wounded to the point where spending more time healing them would make them more battle prep?
No.
Okay.
Bubbles is going to be unable to be battle ready no matter what, whereas Jeremiah really just needs some time to
Okay.
collect himself, and he'll be about as fit as he can be.
All right.
So this will take another time interval, during which time those bars that curved up around the dais, they didn't go all the way up. They will start going up even more and around again, and then hook in on the other sides. And as they do that, they get grabbed again by the dais and then start getting pulled through. So they're just rotating now. If that makes any sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
It seems like it's building a birdcage or something like that.
I think it's more like a rotating metal, one of those rotating metal spinny things.
Do you remember the first X-Men movie?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yep.
Statue of Liberty.
It's starting to look like that bullshit thing. Only much bigger because it's a platform that can fit 40 people on it and not one girl.
No idea what you're talking about, but I believe it to be some sci-fi shit, so we're good.
Right. You're more or less on the right track for that. That time interval will pass. The thing about the mechanism will change. You will create between the two of you 12 small explosives.
And each one capable of taking out exactly 10 people.
No, probably not. Maybe 2 if you're lucky. We'll see.
So it's a firecracker.
I mean, these are satchels of gunpowder with some shrapnel in them,
Motherfucker rolled a 10 on a D4.
and the other person failed entirely. So
Some of them can take out 10 people. Others can take out
that's
half a
not
person.
how it works, Dave. This is about number of bombs and time taken, not the greatness of the bombs, which was limited by the tools.
You know how
that
you
have.
make that last pancake when you make pancakes and it's always bigger than the other pancakes because you have a little bit of stuff left over?
Or you make one ridiculously small pancake.
Yeah, it's true. So maybe
it's that-
this is that problem. All right?
Yeah, it's the real sad pancake that you just eat because you don't want to put it on the plate.
But
and
it's the warmest, you know, and it's like,
yeah,
man.
it's the shame pancake.
I just can't relate. You guys have, in your pancake problems, have never had
What's a
that problem.
Pancake.
A pancake,
Flapjack?
flapjack, a
It's
waffle
not, no,
without the.
It's
the
not
parts.
a fucking flapjack. Flapjacks are different. How do you
No,
not know
they're
what a
not.
fucking pancake is? Flapjacks have sugar in them.
No, but
And
is
baking
it
powder.
like because
It's
like in
sweet
England
dough.
pancakes are
It's
equivalent
flat,
to-
sweet dough.
Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
don't. That's called a Scotch pancake in England.
So it is a pancake. You're just being silly.
Yeah, I'm being
The
pedantic.
silliest.
Right.
Right. So we're
'Cause-
the three of us are ready to go on this platform, supported by the two of you hucking tiny human head bombs at people.
Right. So essentially, Bjorn and Stone can position themselves such that they could absolutely throw these sort of baseball-sized things up to the dais. That wouldn't be a problem without also being seen by the people on the dais now, or even when they're throwing them.
Just so we're clear, lads. Once you're out of bombs, be getting on the dice.
Oh, that reminds me, Eric, son of Eric. We have to have another phrase for if we're abandoning the endeavor, right? If we've killed the captain and there's too many of them left, such that they don't start scrambling up to the dais to their death. Say,
Get the fuck out the dice.
sure, right, very clear, very straightforward. We're abandoning ship, withdraw, etc. Now, I've been taking stock of me surroundings while you all were working so hard, and I can't help but notice that there is an exit on this level. Should we decide that withdrawing is what we're to be doing, and he references that cave that Stone walked in from earlier.
Convenient stone cave.
Right. So, if we should be withdrawing, head towards there, I guess is what I'm saying. Well, that's all there's left. Let Eric and Ricardo do the talking for the parlay. Hopefully we just talk our way on. That's always a possibility.
Yes.
All right. Let's do it. Lead the way. Oh, wait. Oh, here, take this. And he just puts a stick with a white flag on it.
Before we do this giant encounter, would it be at all possible to take a break?
We will be taking
No.
a break, yes. At the top of the hour. In 10 minutes. So, well, here's what's really going to happen. You're going to walk up and you're going to introduce yourself to the captain, and we're going to set up the encounter, and then we're going to take a break
Righto.
to make a cliffhanger, because that's the best way to do it.
Okay. Well then,
Boiled.
I'm gonna take this stick with a flag on it, which is probably made out of some dude's undershorts.
Maybe.
It's a little
Jeremiah's
red from
The quartermasters.
the dead.
Jeremiah's
dead
got some
boy.
sick predilections. I can tell because his name
Brown,
is Jeremiah.
brown streaks on it as well.
Yeah.
Or we go with the 90s cartoon joke, and it's boxers with the little hearts on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the full-on, every dude wears boxers with little red hearts on it.
Unfortunately, this is the 15th century, and that would be incredibly hard to manage.
I am a little confused why you all choose to wear underwear. Like, what is the purpose of putting additional clothing around that region?
Your genitals sweat more than other parts of your body, and therefore stink up and get reeky faster. If you wear underwear, you just have to wash your underwear. If you
Jeremiah,
don't wear underwear,
Don't bother. He's Parisian. They don't work.
your pants
They
start
don't
to
know what
smell
to
like
say.
your balls, and you have to change your pants all the time.
Interesting, because Parisian genitals must be cleaner than the rest of the world.
No, I can assure you they're not.
It's the
I've
lack of
spent
hair.
a lot of time around Parisian genitals. They're gentile.
Sorry.
It is a part of the trade, you could say.
Anyway, so you guys are.
I knew being a pirate wasn't the life for me. Anyway, let's get on the
So the
dice.
three of you head up, and as you begin to head up, you can see that the sort of row that is going on in the dais is not a big disagreement. It's celebratory. Some men are sitting and talking at this point. And from this perspective, you can see that the dais itself is not a totally featureless, flat platform. It has some raised bits, like a control panel looking part. It also has some filigree and like chest high walls right at the edge. If this was a video game in which cover was a main mechanic, you'd be like, oh look, the cover that I'm gonna be using in the fight, if there's a fight.
It's like how you walk into an elevator in a video game and you're just like, sweet, man.
I'm just gonna sit here and load.
And it's right next to the box with all the ammunition. Nice.
Convenient.
Yeah. So, and a lot of them are chit-chatting. So, the ones who are just sort of in a celebratory row, they're not really going to notice you. But of course, ever vigilant Captain Ratbeer will be the one to point you out almost the second that you're visible and cry, "Avast! Approaching on the southern side," and everyone will look. He'll note your flag of parlay, and also he'll note Jeremiah. Jeremiah, me good lad, good to see you made it.
I just sort of raise my eyebrows at this. I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah. Come aboard, lads.
That was easy. Well, what are you guys going to do for the rest of the episode?
You guys are fucked.
Later, Bjorn and Stone. Peace out.
Sort of as he sort of motions for people to keep their guns down and let you forward, he'll approach you, and on his left will be the record keeper who is sick, and on his right will be the castaway, the leader of the castaways. So we're sort of having this Pirates of the Caribbean 3 moment where the 3 leaders on each side walk up and are going to have a parlay. So with that, we'll go to our midpoint break.
All right, guys.
Many thanks to our Patreon supporters for this week's episode. Head on over to patreon.com/Henley to support the growth of Die Party.
Captain Ratbeard and his 2 right and left hand men will meet you sort of at the rim of the dais, and you will be on a platform that is adjacent to the dais at this point. So you have the capacity to step over, but he's sort of intentionally positioning himself, as if to say, talk
Don't get
before
on my dais.
Yeah, to talk before you can get on my dais, that sort of thing. Jeremiah, Eric, Ricardo,
Mischief.
Garcia.
Garcia. What a treasure to see that y'all are alive. What an absolute joy it brings to this captain's heart. I see you have a flag of parlay. Speak your piece.
Well, Captain, truth be told, if you're glad to see us, perhaps some of your men did not get the same order or share the same feelings. It seems like there were many a man on this island that would have rather see us, part of the pool.
I won't be lying to you, boy. The lines of engagement in this particular little adventure have been skewed at best, and oftentimes friend as well as foe have fallen under the cutlass. But you're here now. The day is done. No harm feelings when you're still alive and unscathed. That's what I say.
Well, if that's what you say, Captain, I'm glad to hear it. Looks like you'll be having most of the men here on this rotating dais for some reason. According to Jeremiah here, it's away off this thrice accursed isle.
It is. He seems to eye Jeremiah at this point, not with any sort of malice, but no, it's more like he's agreeing that yes, this is a way off the island, but
he's trying to size up how much Jeremiah told us.
Well, yeah, what if the rest of the thing was also stuff that you've said? But he will say, yes, tis way off the island, to be sure. I didn't just beach my ship on an island with no way off. Yeah, you understand. I'm not a fool.
Well, it wouldn't be much of a captain if you did. So, the three of us, being survivors of whatever it was that happened here on this island, and we'll let the unpleasantness of the past sit where it be. We'd like off the island, and well, as members of the crew that still be alive, if there be any earnings to be had in this venture still, would like to have our share.
Aye, your share. Happy to oblige. Now, some amount of what may have been agreed upon in the past, sort of out the window, one might say, but there's room for renegotiating contracts. I think I'd be willing, to forego any possible unpleasantry. And he sort of, eyes the three of you. I'd be more than happy to agree to say a chest of gold for the three of you. At least what big enough that you can carry on your own. Certainly enough to put any man in a retirement worth having. I think that's a fair deal.
That is a mighty fine offer. That include passage off this island?
Sure, of course. Sorry, there's no gold here on the island. So if I'm to be offering you any gold, it would be in the next sort of phase of this little venture, as you understand. I took that for writ. I apologize.
And I assume that this deal is one of final. We part ways after this?
That would be my preference.
Just as a question, because I'm not acquainted with the blood and the moving temple and such. How do we get off the island from here?
Well, what you need to know is that you best be standing on this dais with me here and my lads. And all this clockwork and finery and filigree, as you see, will crescendo, as it were. And so long as you're here on the dais, things will work out. 'Tis the best that I can explain without a more robust education.
God, this is gonna bite me in the ass, but
Go get him.
He's like, without a more robust education, and Ricardo's like, would you perhaps be willing to elaborate? I'm awfully curious as to what it is that this exactly is doing, and how you come to know of such things.
Garcia, you always struck me as the curious sort, which is, of course, why we crossed swords on the deck of me ship, in the time before when there was information to be lost and secrets to be spilled. That's in the past, and I'm happy to appreciate your curiosity. To surmise, because we don't have all the time in the world, my best man here, and he points to the record keeper, is an aficionado of archaeology and the study of ancient peoples and so forth. And he just so happened to be on a venture of mine when we found this island, and we, of course, explored the temple for its possible gold. When he discovered its mechanisms and its promises of wealth and power and so forth and so on. And to explain it in specific detail, when I say you would require a more advanced education, is that you would require a more advanced education in archaeology and in these peoples. And I don't have the time or inclination to just go on a lecture right now, as I'm in the middle of me master stroke, as it were.
So Captain, master stroking aside, the agreement, as I understand it,
That's the name of the
just a
episode.
gold each, large enough that what we can retire in comfort.
Yes.
Passage off the island.
Yes.
For me and my lads, and then we go our separate ways with no further hostilities. The past, what being in the past, whom trying to kill whom, no longer being an issue. Yes.
And I think, Master Erickson, you'd find, considering I have 40 men at me disposable, that is an awfully generous offer.
Well, I have the Parisian.
It's true. He has the Parisian.
I'm pretty sure a couple of Parisians count themselves among me number.
Yes, but look how handsome this one is.
Hardy har har har. Do we have an accord or not, Eric, son of Eric?
Right. So me and my lads join you and your lads. We stand on the dais. We go to the island. We get a treasure of gold each. We go our separate ways. Aye?
Aye.
One further question, if you will. What of the survivors of this event? Do we have enough time to retrieve them?
No, we don't. But if there are any survivors here, then me mate Jerry here can testify that this island is lush and bountiful, and they'll be just fine. And then that's if they don't find a way to repair me beach ship and get off anyway.
I look at Ricardo and Jeremiah, kind of give a head nod
What kind of head nod?
towards them, asking did they assent to these conditions?
Jeremiah is super stoked on this deal. Like,
It's a
this
good
is-
deal, aside from the fact that two of our companions aren't a part of it.
Well, why
Except
don't you
they
just bring
are.
that up?
They are, which is why I was very specific in the terminology, me and my lads.
Right. It's true. I mean, and it's possible that revealing your wordplay might put the captain in a bad disposition, but it's also possible that he'll accept the terms.
Once he accepts the terms are accepted, and this is all out of character shenanigans.
Okay,
anyway.
if you want to do it like that, absolutely, I'm down. Try it.
I was listening to you say that, and I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna let you get away with that.
Hey, you
a
whistle and
pirate
like
deal.
300 people come up and they will sit on the dice.
Hey man,
You promised to exile Zero. Now all Japanese are Zero. Anyway, that's an anime reference.
that deal with the witch has really taught you something.
It has. It really has.
All right, so he's saying, do we have an accord?
We have an accord.
Shake hands?
Shake hands.
You shake his hand. Then what do you do? He's like, all right, boys, step on that. You know, he's sort of like, all right, aboard, all aboard. No, I don't quite know when this thing's going to go off, you see.
One moment, Captain. Lads! Come up on the dais!
Me lads that are downstairs, come up on the dais.
Stone, did you hear him say scrotum?
I very clearly did not say it. Get up here.
James, you're muted, but I'll
Yeah.
there you go.
Bollocks. Muted, but yeah, bollocks. I said, yeah, I think I did. But no.
Here come me lads now.
Boom, boom.
That's what I think of your
We
deal.
had a card. Yeah,
Um,
they're hard of hearing.
So I'm gonna pick up all the satchels that we got, and I'm
Right.
gonna I'm just gonna tie them to my belt.
Yeah, I mean, don't leave.
Yeah, I'm not getting rid of the bombs.
This could
Yeah, I'm
so
keeping the bombs
certainly
with
go
me.
poorly on us.
So Bubbles will be the first one to start scrambling up, and the Ratbeard will sort of, cork an eyebrow. All right, Master Erickson. So you said me lads because you had more than 3.
Well, Captain, as you pointed out, you've got 40.
Right, and I supposed that you might have something other than just what you are presenting, which is, of course, why I was willing to deal in the first place.
And I'm glad you're a reasonable man. I'd hate to have to kill friends
I also love the
Yeah.
idea that
or be killed.
I love the idea that we're all just agreeing to this because it seems like the best idea, but then we just get eternally cursed, and it's like this fucking enormous like.
It's just a really bad plan.
Yeah, this is like, oh guys, I heard about this really really cool god. His name's Cthulhu, right? Like,
He's really awesome. He
Yeah.
takes you to an island of treasure.
yeah, like this. Like from what I hear he's benevolent.
Real friendly.
Yeah, stand
I
up
didn't
kind
raise
of guy.
I didn't raise a fuss over 3. I won't raise a fuss over 6. But I have to ask that your boy Stone and your mate Bjorn, packed with explosives, what that they are. I don't think it's safe for the mechanism to be exposed to those things. So, as a courtesy, please leave them behind.
Ooh.
Hang on.
I'm not their captain.
Well, very well then. If they want a board to accept the deal you made on their behalf, they have to leave behind the explosives. Everybody who steps on the dais is agreeing to that.
Lads, you heard him.
Has he got a pistol still?
Oh yeah, he's got tons of pistols.
Hey,
about
so
them?
do you guys.
But you have pistols as well. Like,
Yes.
He's not asking you to remove your sabers or nothing.
He's not asking you to remove your weapons,
he's-
just the explosives.
James is getting at the gunpowder. If it's unstable, the guns would be unstable as well.
Well, no, so what he's saying is basically little bombs meant to explode are not safe. Guns loaded with gunpowder are not equivocable. You've made little jerry-rigged bombs. They're a little bit more unstable than a pistol packed with shot.
Guys, I invented dynamite.
Um,
That's a Parisian thing, by the way, dynamite. Yeah.
yeah.
I take
but
off
that
my.
actually makes sense because the Parisian are miners.
yeah, they love
Like,
gold.
They mine gold, so it would make sense.
So I had like a cloth satchel. I take it off and I hand it to Stone, and then I walk in.
Well, that just leaves Master Stone then.
They're his bombs.
I'll drop them on the floor.
All right then.
But not
All
before
aboard.
kicking them onto this.
Onto the dice, they're all lit. Flings them at the captain.
See, now Records doesn't know what's true and what's not.
Well, I know it's true because you've told me so. The only thing I'm waiting to hear is that everyone says they step on the dais.
I step on the dais.
I'm on the dais.
I'll step on the platform.
All right. Prylor?
I
Yeah, you
said
are.
it.
Okay. Your 2 NPCs, Jeremiah and Bubbles, will both step on the dais.
Well, Bubbles is gonna hop onto the dais.
He still has a leg, which is still stepping.
It's hopping.
It's stepping.
He has one
Maybe
foot.
maybe
peg?
it's hop stepping. Maybe it's
Shuffling.
So you're all on the dais. you have successfully negotiated your way onto the dais. And spoiler alert, the captain's not going to betray you.
Wow.
This isn't all a big scheme to get you in the middle of all his
Oh,
men. Because
the door said pull, guys. It said pull. It was a pulling door. We were pushing, but we never tried
this was
pulling
the
the door.
pull.
Oh my god.
Mm.
Wreckage,
I
I
feel dumb.
turned the handle clockwise, and then I try it the other way and see if it works.
yeah, no, this wasn't a
Dogs
scheme.
with smoke bombs were not necessary.
Yeah. This wasn't a ploy. He really did just want to negotiate the situation down. Now, that said, there is a clear division between your group and the other groups. They're not frolicking and cavorting with you. And there are some steeled glances and some tension as you wait around. You know, this is a lot like the scene in Pirates of the Caribbean where they're lifting the curse, but they're not sure the curse has been lifted yet, and there starts to be a bunch of accusatory looks and so forth, and it's about to come to a boil. You know what I'm talking about.
Are we there yet?
Almost. Another time interval will pass, and all of the bars that are rotating around the dais will begin to glow red, as if heated by a blacksmith flame. You know, iron glowing.
Or dark
with
magic voodoo, one of the other.
Dark magic voodoo, one or the other.
Could be light magic. It could be a happy, friendly magic that's powered by blood.
Human blood.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes human sacrifice isn't wrong. I
It's
mean,
like-
these were all pirates.
It's like when you wring out a
If it works.
sponge, right? Right? The sponge goes back to full form. Except imagine that sponge had human blood in it when you wrung it out.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
that's-
and the sponge isn't evil. The sponge is just a tool for cleaning up human blood.
yeah.
Right. This place isn't evil. The people who built it were evil.
Yeah. It's not like the
Or
island
maybe
is built on
they just
human
really
corpses or
enjoyed
nothing.
red, but hadn't figured out paint yet.
It's not like if we crack open every single stone brick in this place, there'd be a skull in it. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe those spikes were just decorative. They were just decorative spikes.
Yeah, it's like when you trip over on a Christmas tree.
form of
You're going to
entertainment.
get cut on the glass
Right.
ornaments, you know? Like,
Right, yet people in this society understood not to be standing where the decorative spikes come from.
Exactly.
It was just something that they knew, and it never occurred to them that other people might come along,
Look.
and then they would be like traps.
The guy
Honestly.
that does the human sacrifices, he puts his pants on one leg at a time like the rest of us.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, these guys were jerks. They moved the dead bodies aside and were sleeping in the nooks and crannies. They were kind of asking to be impaled and sacrificed.
It's true.
So, the device begins to spin up. In fact, I won't even describe it. Just at this point, with what you've put in your mind's eye for this device, imagine it reaching its crescendo. You know, maybe you envision bolts of lightning like Frankenstein, or like beams of light, or like magical runes start filling the air. You know, put into your mind what you feel the crescendo would be.
Yeah, I imagine the guy's face appearing in a beam of light, and he says, "It's free real estate," you know, and then and then we disappear to a new island, which is actually free real estate. So
See, I just imagine, like, so now this iron is surrounding us. Now there's just like a fine blood mist / steam filling the circle. And we're all like, well, this can't be healthy to breathe. And then poof, things happen.
The air does begin to get more red, but more importantly, the air around you begins to get quite hot.
Getting hot.
Stone, Ricardo, Bjorn, and Eric, and Bubbles, you'll recall that along with your curse, you got a curse tattoo.
Oh, yeah. Mine's on my tongue.
Yeah. your
No.
respective curse tattoos begin to burn.
Oh, we can't double down on the curses, guys.
You can always double down on curses.
They're just like, gonna put another tattoo. Oh, he already has a curse. That's weird.
That's awkward.
Okay. What are we talking like? We talking about like, you know, like a
Slight burn first, like you used the wrong shampoo.
what?
Like you used the wrong shampoo,
Like-
like something
like
you're allergic to.
You don't have dry scalp, but then you used Head and Shoulders.
It's like when you
or you
have
accidentally use Nair. On...
I love the idea that it's like when you have sensitive teeth and you drink a cold glass of water and you're like,
Yeah,
ooh.
this is slight
Or-
burn territory.
When you're graduating basic training and everybody thinks it's funny to put icy hot in their balls.
So anyway, there's a slight burn, and essentially as the heat in the air goes up, so will the pain that your tattoo is producing. Until just as things are, no one's paying attention to you by now because everyone can feel the energy in the air, you know. So even as the four of you almost certainly double over in pain because it will get to the point where it is incredibly painful.
Just imagine Eric with his tongue tattoo burning. I just
Oh, and he can't drink any water. He's like,
To be fair, you can put a fire out with sand, so you know. It's,
I'm like licking the ground.
yes,
worst
lick the blood
sunburnt
diaries.
tongue.
What could go wrong?
all at once, the air turns from heat to plasma, basically, like electricity traveling through the air. It's not something that you would understand in a scientific sense from the perspective of your characters. A flash of light,
Stone
and
does.
the heat.
Yeah, Stone understands it entirely, but
The-
he doesn't
the-
understand the words to explain it to anyone
Right,
else.
he's a savant. He's like Nikola Tesla. Like he just gets it in his head, but he can't communicate it to the world.
What's a fucking Tesla engine? It's like, I don't know how I did it.
So you get to the point where you're doubling over in pain, and then the air turns to like a white hot flash of plasma, and all at once the heat of the air is replaced by like an oppressive chill. And in fact, you're surrounded by chill because you're face down in some snow. There's a lingering pain in your tattoos,
Tutoir.
quite bad. I'll describe it as the pain that you would feel in your testicles after being kicked in the testicles. That lingering pain that just doesn't go away for like an hour and turns into nausea, like and all that. You guys are face down in some snow.
Okay. Have any of us like? Do any of our continents have snowy peaks?
Oh, various.
Mine would.
Yeah, he's got snow. Bjorn knows all about snow. There's definitely snow in Prius. They have snowy winters.
I think Berezia is probably free of snow.
Yeah, they don't. They have a rainy season, not a snowy season. But you would know what snow is.
You probably just never been in it.
And likewise, the Emerald Isles also get snow, but in their mega cities, it's mostly just like black soot snow. Like it doesn't really come down as snow, but it's not something Stone wouldn't know what it is.
Well, this is different.
You look up and you find yourself in basically like the glade of a forest, only it's winter. So, you know, no pretty flowers, no leaves on the branches of the trees. There's some stones about in a various configuration.
There's one right next to
Also,
us.
the five of you are the only ones here.
What?
I was gonna say that's what I was gonna ask.
So Jeremiah is with the other group, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Close.
5. So only the cursed guys got dropped into the snow.
Are we? That island we were on when we started,
Uh-huh.
it was tropical, yeah.
Oh, it was a jungle island. Yeah, it was like 100% didn't even have snow on its highest point. And this is not. You're not on a mountain at all. This is just.
We're in like a flatlands forest.
Yeah, you're in that happens to be snowy.
Well, you're good at surviving. You're good at finding food and stuff.
Yeah, maybe we should figure out where we are first, Stone. And
So-
where
We're
the
standing
40
in
pirates
snow.
Lads, I don't want to make too fine a point of it, but I'm freezing my balls off.
Right.
You could say the same for me as well. This is.
I dressed to sail through tropical waters on the ocean, for fuck's sake.
Right. First thing we need to do is build a fire. Try to find me some dry wood.
In the
It shouldn't
snow.
be too hard. It shouldn't be too hard, actually. Snow isn't inherently wet.
Yes. Well, good. Go find me some dry wood. Everyone go look for wood and some kind of land marker of where we might be.
Wood is easy enough to find. You're in the glade of a forest. You don't even have to do a notice roll or anything like that.
I'll clear like a patch of the snow away from
thank
the, and then I'll put some firewood up.
And then I will build a fire.
You can build a pretty decent bonfire, which, because you guys still aren't dressed for snow, is not like totally solving your problem, but definitely takes the edge off.
Time of day?
Well, actually, just saying, because of my racial talent, I get +4 to resist all negative environmental effects such as heat, cold, and pressure.
Excellent. It still sucks, but you're fine. You're not going to die. It is night. The moon is out.
Do we recognize the constellations?
In the previous game, several of you had sailing, which would be a way in which you would notice constellations. Anybody can roll me a smarts check. That's what we'll make it.
Can I make notice smarts?
No.
Can
I've
I
got
make a
boating.
survival check?
Yes.
I have rolled a 4 on my survival check.
Is anybody
Um,
else going to make any attempts?
What, an intelligent, a smarts test, yeah? Not,
Yeah.
Okay. I'll probably get -2 to this roll.
Sure, fine. You're
'cause of
welcome.
My,
Holy fuck, dude! I've been rolling ass today.
You're welcome to apply any
Roll
sorts of
one.
negatives to yourself. So both Ricardo and Eric, son of Eric, both of you are decently traveled. Like as far as the known world, you're both decently traveled. So you're aware that stars do in fact shift as you move along. Neither of you have ever moved so far away that you don't still recognize, like say the North Star or whatever, like the big
What the compass are based on.
right, like
The major constellations.
yeah, you've never moved so far away that they completely disappear out of the sky.
I would
These stars
say
are
wreckage more than anything that
uh-huh.
I am not traveled, but the thing that I notice is that I can't see the astrological sign for the coin,
The twin gods.
the twin
Yeah.
gods. Like
Yeah.
that's probably what tips me off that this is not in fact.
It's very far away because you don't
Kansas.
recognize the constellations at all.
Yeah.
And
and
it's worth noting that the trees don't look like the trees that you're familiar with, right? Like they're not totally alien, but this is like the difference between oak and birch, right? Like they are different,
it's not a familiar type forest.
right? But it's deciduous, right? Like this is Eric, like especially you with your survival check succeeding. Like this is this is no different than winter in a forest in Prius. Like,
all right. I mean, I'm gonna start looking for either natural outcroppings that we could turn into shelter, or things that we could make shelter out of. Because it's the middle of the night, we're not really going to be exploring. We've got a bonfire, so my first instincts are going to be try to find some sort of shelter, and then try to find.
Oh no, he's dying.
I'm dying. Some sort of
The
food.
cold.
But
food.
Shelter first.
I will.
Food might be especially difficult, but
Yeah.
there are some stones in this glade that are large enough, especially if you cleared the snow out, that they would a lean-to would be a totally practical survival thing
Full
here.
moon, Eric, wreckage.
Full moon,
All right,
like
can I
100% like lit night.
Can I climb a tree and see if I can get a better vantage?
Advantage.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I won't even ask you to roll. It's climbing a tree. It's not hard.
Yeah.
So you climb a tree, you pick a tree that you can see like from the ground, breaks the canopy, right?
Mhm.
Like, or the forest a little bit more than others. You climb up this tree, and what you see is that you are in fact on an island.
I can see the radius of the island pretty well.
There's one end of the island that you can't see because it is blocked by a slight peak, right? Like a slight mountaining. Not like a huge Mount Fuji type thing, but like it goes up a little bit to a mountain, so you can't see that shore on the other side of that. So I guess technically it could even be a peninsula if land was hiding on the other side. But you can see for certain that 3 of your sides are surrounded by ocean. It's also not the type of island that ends in sandy beaches. The edges are like sheer stony cliffs. So, and you can see also that there are a smattering of desolate rocks like surrounding this island. Like not quite enough to be islands of their own, but just enough to like this is some sort of mountainous outcropping or maybe volcanic. Perezia has a volcano. We've noted that this could be a volcanic island.
All right. Well, I'm gonna slide back down. There's no like signs of like other campfires or anything obvious, right? So
No, nothing obvious. No
Yeah.
obvious artificial lights.
All right. So I climb back down. I was like, well, apparently we gave one type of hell over to another. So this is, for all intents and purposes, a very small island with desolate rock cliffs around us.
On all 4 sides?
Well, there is a peak that I could not see past, but for all intents and purposes, I assume so.
It is fair to point out that he said it led to an island. So,
Well,
yes,
isn't-
but
it
there's
isn't a-
also no other signs of campfire or anything of the sort. And I refuse to believe that there is not one intelligent man in that group.
they were dressed as we were for tropics. It seems unlikely that they wouldn't light a fire.
well, our curse signs got in the way here. Maybe they ended up in another temple with shelter.
Like within the peak.
Is possible.
Something like that. Obviously the clear distinction between the two groups, as far as we know at this point, is those who are cursed and those who aren't.
I'm going to actually investigate my tattoo. Is there any signs of damage?
Yeah, actually. So the tattoo, when you first got it, like magically appeared. It wasn't actually tattooed into you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's now doing that thing that a fresh tattoo does, which is beating blood, right? Like blood beating out of it. And that blood is, if you wipe it away, actually, then there isn't more blood. It's not like continuing to bleed, but you imagine it was probably bleeding during the pain. And Eric, in a
I'm
similar
spitting blood.
you're not spitting blood. Your tongue isn't sweating blood. More like the taste buds are all fucked, right?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Like if you were to drink or eat
if
something.
you were to go get a tattoo on your tongue,
Right.
Well, we're fucked.
Well, let's not get disheartened, lad. Well,
I
we
believe
can
that
assume the
captain-
40 pirates went somewhere.
I'm going to create a handheld torch to the best of my ability, Wreckage. Maybe like go to the peak of the tree, grab like a dry branch, and try and make
It
like
will-
a torch or something.
I mean, you guys have the spare stuff to make. Like I think the thing you're really lacking is some sort of oil or something to burn, which is what makes torches last.
Yeah, bitch.
Or
Right,
can I
so-
see if I
sap.
can find some sap or something?
I mean, if there are evergreens, you could certainly you could use pine tar. But you would have to know that you could use pine tar to make.
Lad. I think I'm with Eric on this one. We should bed down for the night. We won't need a torch to go searching in the morning.
Yes, but I don't fare very well in this white crap.
Ricardo.
We're going to build a shelter, isn't that right, Eric?
That was my plan.
For
As I'm,
5
like,
men, you're
putting
going to build
together a lean-to.
You're going to build a shelter big enough for 5 grown men.
Yes,
Well, we
it'll
build-
be it'll be quite close, but our body heat will keep us warm through the night.
Dibs on cuddling next to stone. He's big and warm, you fools.
I know that this may not this may not be the height of accommodation that a Perezian is used to, but it's better than you wandering off in the night and succumbing to the elements.
Oh no, I'm wishing that I cursed one of you for bosoms.
I give up me manhood to the curse. That would have been
No. I would probably say, let's give Eric bosoms as part of the curse that I would take on. You know?
Why do I get bosoms for your curse, Ricardo?
because he wants to fondle your tits, Eric.
No,
That's a disturbing image.
I would feel a lot.
That's a disturbing image.
I find it awkward that you all are comfortable hugging each other during the night. That is
Look,
all I am saying.
I'm
It's-
comfortable with not dying to the elements. That's what I'm comfortable with.
I'm just gonna
Right.
build my shelter closer to the fire.
Are we done with this, whatever this is? Because I could use some help building the shelter for 5 grown men.
All right. I'll help.
So basically, the snow is in fact decently deep. So if you clear it away, and of course Eric, being a survivalist and coming from a winterous country, knows that snow is insulative. So he keeps the snow there, right? He just clears out a path to the
I
ground.
like the idea that I'm
Make
just
an
like,
igloo.
why are you keeping the cold snow closer to where we are sleeping?
Because it will keep us warm. Just trust me.
Then you can find like the sticks and branches enough to make something that'll keep the sky, right?
Is it? Could we make an igloo?
I wouldn't go so far as to say that Eric knows how to make an igloo, but I will say that he'll pack the snow on the branches and like
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming there are evergreens, yes?
yes.
Basically every forest, quote unquote, is going to have evergreens. And even if there aren't, you could certainly take branches and get just deadfall leaves and dirt and pile them on the branches and then put snow on top of that.
Suffice it to say, he's passed a survival check. He comes from a country like this. We don't really need to go through the minutia of whether or not he can build this shelter. He can. None of you will die in the night.
I also can.
Yes.
I'd like to point out that Ricardo is every step of the
Very
way
uncomfortable.
questioning why he is putting snow on our survival
On
tent.
our
You know, like
shelter.
it makes no fucking sense to him that you would do that, but like, you know.
And Eric is happily explaining the minutia of survival to Ricardo and his increasingly incredulous looks. Cool. So we've got shelter built. Let's just assume that we've built this shelter. Are we all good to sleep until morning.
I love the idea that we've
Or try.
come full circle where your two characters both roll off your attendance in the morning.
We've fallen far, Henley. We've fallen far.
I started here, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, no, I'm just saying. We started as wealthy space pirates with attendance and the best drugs and booze money could buy. Now we're sleeping in the goddamn woods.
Of noble families with titles and
Yeah.
aspirations for greatness. You've lost all your psychic powers.
You can no longer create black holes with your mind.
Yeah.
A real shame, that one. So, is everyone committed to sleeping the night away or attempting to sleep?
Do we want to have a watch?
It's a good question. Do you want to have a watch?
Sure.
That is-
Yeah. I can do a watch.
All right.
So I'm gonna build another fire closer to the shelter, a smaller one.
Right.
With the stack of wood next to it, because I can't expect the Parisian to be able to do it himself.
I've watched Survivor Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that you build a main fire and then a smaller fire near your shelter.
So, but the Parisian doesn't. So
Right. Well, he's dumb as a bag of rocks, apparently.
No, he's just not a survivalist. It's fun.
I know.
Everybody has their own talents.
I'm kidding. So, you do a watch rotation. I'm going to go ahead and let you know right now that it doesn't matter what order you put it in because nothing's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, practicality.
Right. You're just being safe and practical.
Remember that time when we spent 2 hours designing miniature bombs? That was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that time.
I was born then.
I mean, at any point, you guys were capable of not being okay with his terms and turning it into a fight.
Which
You just
would have
talked
led
your
us
way
to
out.
the exact same point, just slower. So,
No, I think a fight would not have ended up with you guys being teleported. I'm pretty sure you either would have lost the fight or damaged the machine in the process. For what it's worth narratively.
Sure. Then we would have never worked out that we can't just double apply a good slathering of voodoo to our characters. So,
Voodoo!
Your voodoo slot is full.
I like the idea that we equipped a curse tattoo and we can't unequip the curse tattoo.
But here's the deal. When we level up, we'll get an additional voodoo slot.
Nice.
But that's the problem is that you moved forward in the story too quickly because you don't get another chance to reapply this curse. So you just missed it.
Yeah.
Your slot was full and you should have just farmed more ads before you went to the boss encounter.
I mean, in fairness, the temple murdered all the ads before we could farm them.
But then you
some
murder the
ads.
temple and the XP is accumulative. So
I mean, we
the
were
temple.
in the temple and we survived when all those dudes died around us.
You
so-
encountered a fair number of ads that you didn't kill and could have.
no, we add the temple to our party, and then we just get party XP. Yeah.
The problem is the temple's too high a level. The level
Right.
is going to kill the experience.
Well, you have to
true,
take very specific dialogue choices to even have the option to add the temple to your party. And
I heard
very
about a
easy to
guy
make
who
run.
romanced the murder temple once. I don't know how he did it.
It's a very difficult path.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Basically, I'm blaming Prylor for this because he didn't read the subtext of murdering the shit out of Jeremiah 3 episodes ago.
If Jeremiah had been killed 3 episodes ago, he wouldn't have been able to tell you what the dais was for.
I also love the idea that
Every decision you made led to this point.
I love
and
the
it's a
idea that
different
there was a moment in time earlier when it's like, why don't we just take Jeremiah up there and just be part of his crew? And then that's exactly what
And
happened.
everybody's
2
like,
hours
"No."
later, it was like, fuck, Dave.
You're dumb, Dave. You're dumb.
You're
Well,
dumb.
that plan wouldn't have worked because it kind of would have worked, but you wouldn't have been able to bring James and Prylor. Because they are obviously not part. So this version, with the whole negotiation and parlay, got everybody onto the dais. Anyway, Dawn. While it was a clear moonlit night in the night, as dawn rises, clouds roll in, which is actually good because a cloudless day or night is colder than a clouded day or night in winter. For those of you who don't live in wintry places like that. So the clouds roll in and it's day, so there's plenty of light filtering through. It's just one of those like perfectly even gray skies. And it is day. The island is quiet because it's winter. There's not like the chirping of birds. If you listen, the breeze in the forest causes the occasional crack of a branch. There is a sound every once in a while that hints at some sort of wildlife, perhaps something similar to deer or elk.
Jeez, I wouldn't have very many if I could see the fucking boundaries of an island.
I mean, the boundaries of an island from the top of a tree, like that can still be a pretty fucking huge island.
I was thinking about the size of San Francisco, but
no. Well, I don't know how big San Francisco
is. A lot
is.
of deer can fit inside a city limit, man.
Yeah, a lot of deer can live in San Francisco.
Yeah, but you'd be like, okay, we're here for 2 months. We've killed all the deer. Shit, well, fuck.
Well, let me put it this way: if you climbed a tree on, the crest of a mountain, on even one of the mainland islands of Hawaii, you'd be able to see that it's an island.
I've got an idea.
Yes, Stone.
Good morning.
We should make some barrels or boxes.
You don't want to check and see if the rest of the crew's on the island, Stone? They promised us a treasure chest of gold each.
Here's an interesting point. Would that magic beeswax even work if it's a island made out of stick or a barrel made out of sticks?
Isn't that what the barrels are made out of?
Well, barrels are made out of iron and boards, and they're very, they're well crafted. If we just make something that vaguely looks like a barrel or a box, does it count?
Well, there's only one way to chest. Bjorn, are you capable of building barrels from nothing? You're a smith, are you not?
I mean, I have.
You can try.
Mainly the iron parts.
And I could help him.
Lads, before we start worrying about building barrels from twigs, maybe we explore the island, see what else is on it. Maybe
I am eager at least to find a cave of some description.
Yes, something better than the lean-to.
Well,
all right.
To be fair, we don't need a lean-to if we just teleport off the island.
Yes, but I surmise it will take a while to fabricate the iron required to hold the barrel together.
Well, okay, so maybe we just make it out of twigs and stuff, but you're still fair point. It'll take hours to make 5 barrels, and we should do it in some relative comfort. Make nicer barrels. Make sure it works. It's a fair point. Well made.
Right. So you saw 3 sides of the island, right, Ricardo?
That is true. I wish to see on the other side of this mountain peak.
Then which direction is it? Lead on.
That away.
Yay! Let's go that away.
Obviously you make like a fire bindle or something. You know the basics of survival.
And we're gonna let Stone go first to break the snow because he's big and strong.
Even though it's certainly warmer out in the day and with cloud cover, it is still oppressively cold. And you aren't moving for 15 minutes before everyone but James finds the idea of traversing their way to the other side of the mountain untenable.
I wish to point out that I hate this.
I also hate this, Ricardo.
I'm hopping around with one arm and one leg. It's not going particularly well either over here. We need warmer clothing. Oh, well, thank you. Your big, strong arms are certainly warming against my frail old man skin. But I think some consideration should be made for... Eric, you're a survivalist. Can you make clothes out of trees?
No.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out what you're supposed to do in this situation other than freeze to death.
I mean, we could try hunting.
And skinning and leathering and all of that?
Well, technically, you don't have to leather if you're not worried about it lasting too long. You can just cut it off the animal and slap it on your flesh, but...
Oh, that seems like a lot of work. Also, but I am cold.
Real talk, in this situation, when you're dressed for not winter and you're on a fucking island, you're most likely just gonna die. So it's either you build shelter and you try to wait it out, or you try to go somewhere else. Yeah. There's not a huge amount of option here.
The only thing I could think of is go towards the like some kind of mountain, which we were, right?
Right.
To see if we can find a cave or something.
Trek to the side of the island that we couldn't see, in hopes, at least my hope, was that there would be something over there that we could either, some kind of wreckage or debris, so we're not building barrels from scratch,
Or village.
or some kind of hidden village, or a
Civilization.
cave in the mountain. I mean, secretly, I'm hoping that happens to be where the crew is, and thus, money and reward. But from a pure survival standpoint, our choices are basically stay still in this shelter, try hunting, and probably freeze to death, or maybe freeze to death while trekking across the island in hopes that there's something on the other side.
What would we need to do to make the trek wreckage in terms of rolls?
It wouldn't really be terms of roles, I don't think. I mean, I guess the system does technically mechanicalize this, so yeah, I think it becomes vigor rolls maybe, and you would take progressing damage from the cold. The alternative would be, on this trek, like, you go out of your way to attempt to make your ability to survive the cold better, as Eric said, with hunting, perhaps. So basically, if you make this trek, you're opening yourself up to the possibility of dying of hypothermia. And, actions that you take to prevent that.
What do we have to hunt, though? I mean, as in, like, what do we actually have that we can use to hunt?
Pistols.
You have a lot of pistols and swords.
Yeah.
You've got everything you need to kill an animal. The problem will be hunting it.
Let's chase down that deer with a cutlass.
Ha-ha!
Jump out of a tree.
I mean,
No,
you could do an Arnold Schwarzenegger thing where you bury yourself and then wait for it to get there, and then you just spring up and go right for the leg.
Or you shoot it with the pistol, and then as it's wounded, you finish it off with the cutlass. But yeah, I mean, so you could do some things if there are moss beds around these trees, which it seems unlikely because it is winter. Like, you could do some stuff with that. Like, you could get bark, pull it thin, get strips of that, tie the moss together. That would provide some reasonable insulation. I mean,
you could probably dig for grass.
You're not looking for grass. You're looking for, like, mossy patches, like, that grow in, like, at the base of trees.
I'd be more willing to actually just tough it out. To be fair, I think, and see how far we can make it, rather than
Yeah, I mean, we
to
could
slow down.
certainly just like
Oregon Trail it.
move for 30 minutes to an hour, then make a small camp, make a fire, warm ourselves back up, and like it would be slow going, but we certainly could do that trek that way.
Yeah, if you take your time and go from fire to fire, then you wouldn't even really have to make vigor rolls.
Yeah, because I mean, I have survival and healing.
The payoff would be taking a shitload of time.
I honestly think our best effort is to like make it to at least the base of the mountain. Like, I honestly think that's probably the direction we should go.
Who knows? We can't seem to cut a break.
I mean,
it's almost like we started this campaign as cursed sailors on a pirate.
It's called
ship.
Dead Man's Curse. It's not called Dead Man's Happy-Go-Lucky Fun Time.
Pony Adventure.
Yeah. So I think we should take a vote here. I think we should just move and get there as quickly as possible. But that's just me.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's my vote. Yeah, I think we should crack on.
Just push through and maybe die anticlimactically to hypothermia. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Seems
an
like
island.
three people vote.
We have a fucking. There is a end to this, right? Like, we just need to get to that point. Because honestly speaking, I think we'll find something. But
I mean, I agree. I think we should push through. If you'll allow me, Wreckage, I'd like to make a survival roll and a possible healing roll to basically, if I pass my survival roll, I want to see if there's anything that I could do within reason to mitigate the cold that I don't know about.
Sure.
Perhaps a dude living in that environment might
Out of character knowledge, right? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. And then
the healing roll is for
treating frostbite. Like, if I notice the symptoms of frostbite, like, hey, Ricardo's gonna lose his feet if we don't stop and warm him up.
sure. Why don't you make both of those rolls? I'm fine with that.
can we assist in any way? Like, I know there's traits in here for assisting with stuff.
Do you have survival? Do you
Okay,
have
so
healing?
I'm gonna use a Benny for my survival roll.
Sure.
Okay.
Hey, that's better.
So I got a 5
Alright.
for my healing and a 7 for my survival.
Both of those are bigger than 4, so they're successes.
So again,
Assist-
not
yeah.
looking to completely mitigate we're trekking across an island in prep.
right.
A better chance.
So for the healing roll, certainly the idea of just trekking on through the, gritting your teeth and bearing it is a terrible idea. Like, at least that's what the healing roll tells you. Especially if they're traipsing forward, you may not be able to notice that any particular one of your compatriots is going through the symptoms of hypothermia until they're already in a severe situation.
Mhm.
Like, ears and fingers is something that you could probably tell for sure, but you wouldn't be able to know about their feet or say about like their internal body temperature, although that sort of concept isn't something you're aware of. But the idea that as hypothermia progresses, you don't necessarily see it on a person, right? So that's something that you would be aware of, is that like you're not going to be able to hold their hand and tell them enough is enough, you're going too far, we need to stop. As far as the survival check, I'll just go through the list of things that you could do, some of which we've already discussed. Obviously, you could hunt to try and create winter clothing, but that's a big time sink, and it doesn't seem like your compatriots are up for that. You can, as you say, use bark and vegetation to make something of winter clothing. That's not going to be particularly easy either. You could something that would be quick and help a little bit. You guys already are wearing clothes. You're not naked. They're just not good for winter at all. Digging up grass to pack your clothes with something that is insulative would make a small difference and not be particularly effective, but it would do something, and it wouldn't take forever either. Presuming that it's a forest glade, so this space almost certainly has grass buried beneath the snow, or grasses, those types of things, weeds even.
There are rabbits here, right?
Maybe. No sign of any tracks in the fresh fallen snow, but there probably are small mammals of some persuasion, trappable animals. But of course, that's a time sink that it sounds like your compatriots aren't up for. Laying out some traps or something and waiting and seeing.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, if there were a couple of rabbits, we could go hunt them, and skinning rabbits isn't all that hard to do, and would serve as making decent, at least, things for hands and feet. But,
so those are the results of your rolls.
All right. That I basically share this information with all of you, that there isn't much we can do to make the trek more survivable, and if we do it, bad things could happen. Thoughts?
Well, here's the thing, my companions. I'm not one for this sort of environment. I would be relying on you way too much as it is. I would be wholly unuseful.
Bjorn? Stone? Bubbles?
Well, I think we just need to keep going.
I don't personally. I've never been one to be in a rush for anything, so I'm perfectly comfortable waiting in a camp while we try and hunt and build winter clothes and wait, or build barrels. I'm willing to wait around.
Bjorn?
I say we trek on.
It seems like it's 3-2 at best.
It would come down wholly to our man Eric here to do literally everything for all of us.
Well, then we'll make some barrels or crates, because it worked on a crate, if you remember.
Do we have the capacity to make crates out of twigs?
We have no tools.
Well,
we have no tools, Stone. We cannot simply cut wood.
I'll pull out my green dagger thing, knife, sword.
Are you going to cut down a tree with that? I know it's hard for you to comprehend something like this, but you cannot make a barrel or a crate from simply felling a tree with a dagger. It does not work like that.
We could. We got 2 carpenters with us. Eventually make boxes and barrels, but it would take time. And in the meantime, we'd be living in a lean-to with a fire.
I'm not awfully happy to sleep next to men of your types either. As far as I'm concerned, I would rather test my guile against the wilds of this place and continue to the mountain.
I tend to agree. It's either we
You're
stay...
putting an awful lot of stock on the fact that we can make what we need from this place. I have not seen a single animal since I have come here, nor have I seen tools lying about that we can make use of. There is no wrecks to speak of on this side of the isle. We are in a frozen hellscape.
Right. So, dig the snow away, look for grass. We'll use it to shove it down your pants and your shirt. It will act as an insulator, give us some kind of protection from the cold. Try to dry it off as best you can. And then we trek on. If you lose feeling in your hands or your feet, let me know. If it starts turning black at the fingertips, really let me know. Look for changing in color.
Self-appraisal is important.
Very well.
We're going to do those things, and then we're going to march forward into the cold.
Right, so I'll start. I'll go. I'll maybe make a fire. Well, maybe make another fire, so that we can like dry the grass off faster.
I have a question. Since the snow is thick and stuff, and I can create things, and I would know of snow because where I'm located on the map and my people, could I perhaps make like snowshoes for people to make it easier?
These are things that you could do, yeah.
You keep it above keep us above the snow so we don't get so wet trekking through the snow.
While we've been discussing, I've been looking up the Savage Worlds rules for this. And they have specific rules. It's the system is essentially fatigue. When you're trying to go through a harsh environment, you depending on the type of environment, you make certain rolls. If you fail them, you gain fatigue, which makes you less likely to pass future rolls. And it's simply a compounding thing where eventually you get so fatigued that you die.
Okay.
So that will be the system that we use. In this case, for every it's based on hours that you travel, you'll make a vigor roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it's a compounding -1 modifier to all rolls.
Right.
The things, yeah. So you go from fatigue, exhausted to incapacitated.
And what are you rolling? Vigor?
Vigor.
Yeah, vigor.
And Stone has a passive for this that makes it so he probably won't fail.
Probably has one of the highest vigor of us all too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because he puts 2 to the result. So
fun thing. I have a temperate farmland trait that is -4 to all elemental resist.
Oh, so this is terrible for you?
This is awful for me.
Yeah, but it also states here in this cold thing here that you can add. Okay, you can recovery, warmth, and shelter from the elements allows the hero to recover fatigue for every 30 minutes. Yeah,
which is essentially the plan that you guys weren't willing to do.
Well, but the thing is, if we go to the point where we are at fatigued, we can decide to stop and build shelter.
Sure. All right. Well, let's do the rolls then. Let's see how far we can get.
And this just determines how long it is going to take us to cross this island.
Right. So, everybody roll a vigor check. Stone, you have +2. Eric, you have -4.
Yep.
Why am I getting +2?
Because you have your trait, man.
Your passive
Trait's +4.
Oh, I thought you said +2 the last time you brought it up. Well, so go ahead and put +4 to it then.
I'm going to use a Benny because I need to pass the first one at least.
Cool.
9.
That didn't go well.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. I want to use the other.
I will also use a Benny.
So this is my second use of a Benny.
Nice. Nice.
So how many did you use? One?
I used one. I have one Benny left.
You have one Benny left? Okay.
Yeah.
Eric, why are you -4? Is it a -4?
Because
he's got a trait
have
that's -4.
That is temperate farmland, which is -4 to all elemental resist.
All right, so I'll roll mine, I guess.
So I've failed my first vigor roll, so I get holy shit. Bjorn loves the goddamn snow.
It makes perfect sense. Really, when you think about it. So that's 2 raises. So I'm going to go ahead and say that you don't have to make any more vigor checks. Thrinians just excel in the snow. They're like Scandinavian rednecks when they go out in the middle of winter and with vodka and jump in lakes and stuff.
So not terribly good at survival, just incredibly stupid and sturdy.
Yes, that's exactly the situation. On the other hand, Ricardo does succeed, but he struggles because he used 2 bennies. James, as Stone, is fine, also succeeded with a raise. Eric, on the other hand,
Not so good.
You are dying, basically. Like, you guys have only traveled for a little while, really, in the grand scheme of things. And maybe it's even part what's the word I'm looking for? It might even be somewhat somatic, right? Because you're the one who knows all about hypothermia, so you're focusing on it a bunch. But basically, you're freezing to death, like, immediately already.
Right, so we'll set a fire. And
Well,
we'll
role play it for me, right? Because nobody else knows he's
Okay.
freezing to death. Eric,
I mean, honestly, I with how I rolled, well, I take 1 fatigue. So according to the chart, you only get 2. I'm assuming when you get 2, you just pass out.
No, it goes. You go. Next one is exhausted, and then after that, it's incapacitated.
Yeah.
Okay,
And-
So-
so there's 3 levels
so-
of it. So
yeah, so this is cold. So basically, at this junction, what you see from Eric is he probably started like right behind Stone, like pointing out like, hey, yeah, no, like this is, you know, kind of guiding through the woods doing survival guide type shit. And then he kind of fell back, and now he's, you know, in the back. Bubbles is even kind of hopping in front of him.
So we're seeing you struggle.
Yeah, you're seeing me struggle. You were seeing me shiver a lot. Like, everybody's shivering, everybody's cold, except for Bjorn, apparently, who's just like singing a happy little woodland song.
he's sweating. He's just like,
I'm making snowballs and throwing them at you.
Yeah. So you see me stop shivering. So I'm not shivering anymore. Like, I'm still bundled up, like kind of slowly hunched over, but I'm no longer shivering.
Right. So I'm going to go. Well, I mean, I'm just going to say I think we should stop, set a fire, and get Eric warmed up.
We don't have to stop. I'm fine. I can do this.
No, we're stopping.
We're okay.
Bjorn, can you get some firewood, please?
you
I'm
brought
on
a fire bindle. That
Oh,
it won't
okay.
be that too big of a deal, but like it does mean
Start to
stopping.
get wood, right?
It does.
I'm
Yeah, it
gonna
does
clear
mean
the
building the
s- I'm gonna-
fire.
I'm going to clear the snow, and I'm going to dig up some grass and stuff, and then I'm going to put the grass by the fire, and I'm going to try and dig up enough to get the people that seem to be struggling a little more than the rest of
It's
us.
just me. It's just me. All of you passed.
No, but Ricardo looks like he will eventually.
Right. Ricardo
struggle.
spent 2 bennies on.
but that's mostly
passing.
luck. Like, you know, for me, it's like I'm hiding behind people when we're walking. You know, I'm the smallest of the lot of you, so for me,
Bennies aren't just luck; they're also like willpower and determination.
I know,
So,
but I
like,
actually have the trait luck, which gives me extra ones. So, like,
sure, right, yeah.
you know, like for me, it's just a series of like, you know, things that have happened in this event.
Yeah, but if we can
like-
get you packed out with some warmer clothes, that might mean not clothes, but just a temporary fix for it. It will potentially benefit you.
Sure.
Just saying.
I mean, Eric can never pass this test. Is basically what happens here.
I mean,
So, but
it's
I have a
not that
question.
can
But
never
can
pass it.
can we
I
not?
do-
Can we not like do the things like I know, like you said, shoving was it grass in your clothes and stuff? Was there no benefit to that?
There is
Was there
actually
no-
one in here. It says, this role assumes the character is wearing warm clothing. So, you know.
Yeah, so basically what we've done by the things that we did is not take further negatives.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is, I can pass this roll. I have a vigor of D6. If I get an explosion of a 2, so if I roll a 6 and a 2, I can pass this roll. But
It's a 1 out of 6 chance in the first roll.
Yeah, so like I'm from a
Well, you have a wild die too, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
My wild die is what got me.
yeah, like I'm from a temperate climate. Yes, we have a winter, but I'm also an established like I'm a middle-aged farmer. You know, so
So you work in the noonday sun, and that's the thing that you're used to resisting.
during the winter, you know, we eat our stores. I drink lots of beer.
Yeah,
you know?
I was gonna say you're the guy that knows how to survive out in the wild, but has never practiced it.
Well, that's not true. Like when I was in the militia, when I was young, I practiced it. But
All right, okay.
you,
But not
you
this sort of
spend
climate.
15 years not
Yeah.
doing that shit, you'd lose
Yeah.
your resistance.
And also, this climate, you're not used to this climate.
So, let's bring the episode to a conclusion as you make second camp.
How far away are we from our destination? Like, how many rolls
We took
would
10
use?
steps.
What is your destination? The mountain?
Yeah, the mountain to begin with, at least.
You've probably traveled for 2.5 hours at this point, and you're at least 6 to 8 hours away from the mountain.
Big island.
Well, you're also trekking through snow,
Mhm.
and on foot. So you can only travel so many miles on foot in good condition in an hour. In bad conditions, you guys are barely you're barely moving along. So as you make second camp, we will end this episode with the most classic of RPG scenarios. As you sit and warm by the fire and try and find any sort of supplies to eat or otherwise, there is a sudden tension in the air. The hairs on the back of your necks stand at end as the silence of a midday winter is very gradually disrupted by a growing and harmonic growling. Your camp is surrounded by a pack of wolves.
Oh, fair.
Well, if we kill them, we will get some clothing, I guess. So that's not so bad.
Problem solved. All we have to do is not die. Call Liam Neeson. He's good in this scenario.
Yeah. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The most classic RPG scenario: a campfire attacked by wolves.
Is that really the most classic?
Yeah, it's pretty high up there, right along with like Bandits on the Road.
I think the
Yeah.
most
We could
classic
produce a bar
is
wench, and that'd make you feel better.
you all start in a fucking tavern.
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
Like, I think that is the most classic, if I had to put my finger on it.
Yeah, that's the most classic, but also almost every day one, you make camp and you're attacked by bandits, orcs, or wolves. And it's usually wolves because if they're trying to slow roll the campaign, like you fight animals before you fight people, before you fight army, right? So it's like right after meeting in a tavern, you go out and camp and get attacked by wolves,
wolves, kobolds, goblins, orcs, humans.
etc. Yep.
All right. Well, let's wrap this bitch up then. Eugene, son of Coldman, how are you?
Freezing in the forest, man. Freezing in the forest.
As you do.
Rock hard nips. Rock hard nips.
At least you'll be able to fight the wolves with the
No,
two
'cause you go
knives
in
on the
next
front of
week.
your chest.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Nah, it's good, man. I don't know. I was looking forward to killing the captain, but chest full of gold and transport off the island was a good deal.
Hindsight's
But,
2020, right?
Yeah, hindsight 2020. Hate when words come back to bite me in the ass. Hi, I'm Eugene. You can find me at twitch.tv/Eugene. I promise I occasionally do the streaming thing. Or if you're feeling froggy, tomorrow you can find me here at twitch.tv/Henley playing an orc sloth.
Yeah, it should be a good one too.
Used to be Orcsloth Bear, but Prylor fucked that all up.
It is, as you say, the
Wasn't me.
middle episode in the trilogy that is the arc that they're currently in, which is always the arc where the bad thing happens. So it should be interesting.
It'll be fine.
Yeah,
Don't
it'll
worry
be fine. Yeah. Prylor, my man,
Yo,
what up?
I am not freezing in the forest, but I am in a cold forest.
You should give your clothing to Eugene.
Now that I don't, that I've already rolled for surviving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Prylor. You can find me here on Wednesdays and Thursdays doing some tabletop. And you can also follow me on my channel at Prylor on Twitch and Prylor_TV on Twitter. I play video games, and I've been playing video games recently, getting back into streaming and kind of doing it daily, which is good because I haven't been doing that. So yeah,
No. Nice.
come give me a follow, and that's that.
All right, cool. And last but not least, we have Mr. James Corp. What up? How you do? You're muted, by the way, dude.
I thought I muted it. I must have muted it and then unmuted it. Brilliant. I'm not doing very well. It is late for me. I'm James Corp.
You're not the only
You
one
bet.
who has
Yeah, but
late
you've
nights.
slept.
You can sleep too, man.
Not when I have things to do. I can't. Yeah. You can find me at twitch.tv/James Corp. I do RPGs mostly. Tomorrow we've got Dungeons and Dragons from 8 p.m. GMT. And then on Sunday we've got Star Trek from 8 p.m. GMT.
To boldly go where
to
no
boldly
man
go.
has gone before.
We struggled to take off in a runabout, but hey, okay. But other than that, just keep a check on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, which is James Corp TV at Twitter.
Oh, it's TV? Okay, I'll fix that.
On Twitter it is. On Twitch it's just James Corp. There was nothing else I could do because someone else had taken it and they're not using it. Because I checked, haven't done anything on that profile at all.
Same with the Prylor.
Same with him.
And
me
also, I think I'm James Corp TV on YouTube as well, where I have all my hostings of videos. I'm not sure, can't remember. But anyway, yeah, if you like role plays, they generally don't clash with Henley's stuff because it's earlier. So yeah, and then I guess technically it's Wednesday, but for me it's Thursday morning. I'm on here, and then on Friday morning I'm on here as well for the Shadowrun and Dead Man's Quest.
All right. Last but not least, we have our Game Master. And Mr. Game Master, how are we doing for those sweet, sweet experience points?
Jesus fucking Christ! You're a goddamn slut, Dave. You fucking have no standards. Not, hey, how's it going? How you doing? How you feeling? How you think the game was? Just, what do I get? What do I get out of all of this?
Yeah, what? Give me my fucking. Nah, it's cool. Yeah, but
yeah, backtrack dig your way out of this hole. So I personally consider this to have been the least likely outcome.
Really? What did you think that we were gonna do? Blow them up?
Well, every step along the way, you wanted to blow them up more than you wanted to talk to them.
Well, I think the talking was just an inevitability to see how close we could get before the shit started flying.
Well, and then you were totally cool with everything they were saying.
I mean, they were the Snake Oilsmen to this murder palace that we were in, so.
I expected some backlash. I expected some inherent resentment, right?
If I know wreckage,
live and let live, guy.
Even if
being
they
able-
offered us like an equal share, Wreckage would have found a way to take it away from us. And as it turns out, it's teleporting to a desolate, snowy wasteland. So,
I mean, don't have another curse in your curse slot, as you said.
yeah.
So considering that, that this outcome was perhaps the most difficult to achieve, then I'm going to award 3 experience points to all players.
Woo! That means we get an upgrade. Perfect. But I'm curious. If we take on it, like I imagine that we have an Omega level curse right now. But if we were to get like an even higher level curse, would it replace the current curse?
Yeah,
Like-
on the surface of the sun. That's where we end up.
Um,
That's our next stopping point.
Yeah.
If a bigger curse comes along, I think, you just messed with some magic or whatever, and the process of it was incredibly painful. If a bigger curse comes along, I think it probably just kills you.
Yeah. So this is the alpha omega of the curses. Yeah.
I mean, this is lost sailor overboard on a mystic island in the middle of the God knows where ocean, and a flippant sea witch. So it's pretty high level curse.
Yeah.
Talking about here.
Yeah,
So-
we don't know how powerful she was or how powerful her curse is, compared to other curses. It does turn all liquid into ash when Eric tries to drink. So that's a bit of magic, right? That's a non-zero amount of magic.
Yeah.
Other than that, good session. Eric might not be joining us next week, or at the very least, we'll be leaving early. But that's
Well,
fine
fate.
because I have plenty of heads up.
Fate.
But if somebody else has a conflict, then we're gonna have to probably call it. That said, I have to take a shit, so I've
Sweet.
awarded you XP.
Thanks.
Let's
Lovely
try and
image.
we all poop, James.
I know, but
Everybody poops. James.
So the thing you're gonna learn about Wreckage is he don't care. He don't care. He'll fucking he'll open his butthole and fart directly into the microphone if possible. He don't care. He don't care. So
Everyone is beautiful.
yeah.
Your body is a temple, and the things that come out of it are sacred.
So everyone gets an advance now. We get to choose the following. We either gain a new edge, increase a skill that is equal or greater to the linked attribute by 1 dice, increase 2 skills that are lower than their linked attribute by 1 dice type each, buy a new skill at D4, or increase 1 attribute by a die type. And you can only increase the attribute once until we get to the next rank, which is, in 3 more advances time. So some things to think about. The edge one is particularly interesting. There's a couple of edges that I think this group would sorely need, including that MacGyver one. Prylon. So, that's something to
Is
think
there
about.
a don't get eaten by wolves while I'm not here edge?
There is a woodsman one, actually. Yes. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, woodsman beats out fucking
Woodsman
wolves.
trumps wolf.
Yeah, in every situation.
Krylor can't get the MacGyver. He needs a notice of D8, and he's got a notice of nothing.
Oh, I mean, does he really need
Jeez,
notice? Well, there you go.
Yeah, notice D8.
The edges have
I have
prerequisites.
notice. I've noticed.
What is your notice?
You
I don't have D8.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can increase your notice and another skill if it's under the current level. So there you go. That's probably one. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's episode of Dead Man's Crest. As mentioned, tomorrow is all about the Cyber and the Punkley. So that'll be interesting. Come back for that, 5 p.m. PST. We are going to be doing a daily stream as well. Fan party seat arrangement is open now, so if you want to join the Cyberpunk 2020, because that's what it's going to be this month, make sure you head on over to the Discord and go to the fan party group and submit your entry there. So that'll be cool. Yeah, and after this, we're going to be doing a daily stream, and I think Wreckage, you're signed in for playing some Surge with us, for at least for the beginning part of that. Not Surge.
I'm sorry.
Fucking Siege.
Oh, right, yeah. I'm gonna poop obviously first, as I've already
Yeah,
described.
yeah. And then you'll come play Siege and stuff.
But that I'm absolutely able to play Siege for an hour or two.
Sweet. All right, guys. We'll see you then. Have a good one. And remember, master stroking is literally the way to go. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Don't interrupt the master stroke.